me, Sean Capri. I'm glad you're here because you're listening to the most horse-powerful podcast on the internet. It's the Xbox Drive. I'm on a Skype call with my friend Ryan Turford, he's the weatherman on the Moose, and our friend Matt Sowinski from the PlayStation Drive. Coming here, we're going to run down the entire Xbox game showcase right for you, so jump on into the Xbox Drive.
Greater than X.
Hello, Sean Capri.
Ryan Turford, there's so many games. Oh my goodness gracious, good to see you, my friend. How are you?
It's good to see you as well. You know, the weather is kind of nice. It's 20 degrees outside. It's kind of cloudy, just kind of overcast, you know. The smoke at least is dissipated from here, so it's not as smoky here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. But, you know, it feels nice outside. Nice 20-degree weather, Sean. Nice summer day.
I'm just going to eat my yogurt.
Yeah. The full weather report has come in. But also, Sean, we are not alone because audio listeners, we are also joined by the level 99 tiefling rogue. Matt Sowinski's also here. Hello, Matt.
Nice.
What up, y'all? Ready to tear down the Xbox showcase with you. What a great time. I love this time of year. Just so much hype, so much joy. Some would say the most joy comes this week out of any other time. Like you go like Christmas morning. No, this is better. You go like, you know, the day Jesus came back. No, this is better. You go like, you just come out swinging. This is that time of year.
Better than the resurrection. Holy cow.
No, dude. Real quick. Okay, I'm going to hijack this for a second real quick. Did you guys see that story that was going around about the alligator that apparently had like a virgin birth?
No.
It was like secluded for like 15 years.
I did see that. Yes, life finds a way.
Yeah, and life finds a way. And there was a Reddit comment that I have to shout out that said Jesus took that in a wild crocodile thing way too serious. And it killed me. Anyways, stoked to be here.
Good start. Good
start to the show already. We are already off the rails. Well, this is actually going to be a very special episode of the Xbox Drive. I don't even think, Sean, do we even number this episode? I don't even think we even number
Probably
this
not.
episode.
Who knows? I didn't even know we still numbered the episodes.
69.
We're counting down to episode 300, Sean. Come on, you know
we
this.
are.
But no, so this is a special episode of the Xbox Drive. We just watched the Xbox and Bethesda game showcase. 2023 edition, now, of course, featuring 100% more Starfield. And we are going to sit down and talk about it here, and it's going to be a good time, folks. So sit back and relax, grab your popcorn and snacks, because we're about to get into it. But before we get into it...
Dude, that was great. Hang on a second. That was really good. Sit back and relax, grab your popcorn and snacks. Ryan's popping bars over here,
Bro,
dude.
I actually did that last night because, you know, full transparency, I recorded the Pants Patreon podcast for Patrons Podcast last night for the first time. And I tried that there because it's a line I've been thinking about for a while. And then just rolled off the tongue there. So.
Dude, we need to roll that back into a short and throw like a dirty little beat underneath that thing. You know what I mean?
JB, come on, man.
Bro,
we need you on this, dude.
Matt, the only thing that would make that better is a copy of James Cameron's Dark Angel Season 1 now available on DVD with an extra bonus feature of the trailer for the video game James Cameron's Dark Angel.
Oh my gosh.
Every time, dude. I wish I would get sick of it. I don't.
You would think the way that we're fluffing this intro out, like we're just talking about nonsense, you would think that we have nothing to say. You would think there's nothing to cover. You would think that, Ryan.
You would think
that's
so.
Not the case.
You would also probably think there's no way this episode could be an hour plus long, but it's probably what we're getting at, folks. So
nobody would think that.
Let's seamlessly transition from there to cleaning the garage. So real quick, if you're watching the live stream right now over at youtube.com/carpoolgaming, or if you're watching the video on demand later, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, because come on, hit that subscribe button. What are you doing? And also ring that notification bell to be notified whenever we go live with a new live stream or a new video on the channel. Also, if you're listening on audio feeds, don't forget to rate us 5 stars if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or subscribe there if you haven't hit that subscribe button. And last but not least, if you want our audio on one big podcast feed or exclusive content, like the Pants Patreon podcast for Patrons Podcast with me, which I recorded last night that went up this morning, you gotta head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/carpoolgaming. Throw a little tip in the old tip jar and out comes content. And one more thing before we move on. We announced this morning, but this announcement may have got lost in the shuffle a little bit. So I want to, make sure to promote this a little bit. Speaking of that Pants Patreon podcast for Patrons Podcast, Sean, we have a brand new shirt in the merch store. The Pants Patreon for Podcast for Patrons Podcast shirt available right now over at YouTube or www.carpoolgaming.com. You also find it on the YouTube page too, which actually, believe it or not, my flub actually somewhat works here.
Oh, there you go. You can find it there as well. People know the little character, the little carpool guy named Bobby, Bawby, named after the late great Bobby Pauls, the Nintendo guru. Some people don't know that, but now all the rest of us who, now that we're all doing the Pants Patreon podcast, we're all in this universe. We're all drawn as cutesy little characters, and I think that shirt is so good. I think people are really going to like it. Carpoolgaming.com, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely, Sean. All right, we're just going to shift right into cruise control. We're not grabbing our 8 tracks, pop them in time for the playlist. We're not slamming the brakes with breaking news. It is cruise control time. We just got to shift into
not changing the oil.
Yeah,
Ryan.
Not changing the whale at this point.
We're
not doing the carpool either this week.
Yeah.
Carpool is just the chat on the thing. So let's shift into cruise control. Talk about the 2023 Xbox and Bethesda game showcase with 100% more Starfield.
Now with 100% more.
What we're going to do is we're going to kind of go game by game, I think is the best way to do it. Because honestly, Sean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there weren't really duds during the showcase. There might be a couple that we might zoom through.
There was one. I think that when the trailer ended, it was just pure silence from us all.
That's
but
true.
Nothing. It's not a new game, so
right. So it's not going to be. It's going to be a little bit different from Summer Game Fest, where I think you guys zoomed a little bit faster through a lot of the stuff. That's not going to happen here because I think we have things to say about a lot of the stuff here. So
it's a school zone. It's a school. You got to slow it down. 30 kilometers an hour or more.
Somebody please think of the children, Sean.
Think of the children, man. Holy cow.
Yes.
I'm thinking of the children.
All right, let's start it off as they started off the showcase, Sean. Fable got its grand return from the CG trailer that we saw before to now we finally got a gameplay trailer mixed in with some cinematics for Fable. In fact, we mostly thought it was probably going to just be a cinematic trailer, Sean, but then they surprised us at the end of the trailer with a gameplay segment. With this giant Deviate. I don't know how to say his name correctly. He's the dude with the glasses from the IT crowd. Is how I will refer to him. Thus for Moss from IT crowd. And I thought it looked pretty dang good. But I want to know what y'all thought. So Matt, I'll start with you. What did you think about the re-reveal of Fable?
Dude, I thought this was great. I thought, the tone of it was awesome. I liked the humor. I liked the cheekiness of it. I like the game from the little pieces that we saw that looked like actual gameplay looked stunning. I think this was a great way to start the showcase off. I thought this was a great way to kind of get things going. And, Fable's been absent for a long time. And I thought this was a great way to kind of reintroduce it and bring it back. So this was a really strong start for me. I'm in.
Nice. Sean?
You only get to make a first impression once, Ryan. I think I once heard a wise person say, and I think this was a great first impression. We've been wondering, what is this going to look like? Are they going to be able to retain the humor and the style and the sensibilities of the earlier Fables? And so, and we'll talk about Starfield much later on, but I feel like this was how you introduce a new game to people. And giving it its space at the beginning, I think shows its importance in the lineup. Xbox understands that. They understand people have been looking forward to this. It's much further along, by the way, than I thought it was. So very, very cool showing. Glad it had a good mix of cinematics to kind of get a sense of what the humor is going to be and the tone. And then we got to see the gameplay, man. So all good. This was a very, very strong start to what I think overall, Ryan, is a very strong showing from Xbox on this showcase today.
Yeah, especially knowing what the One More Thing ended up being, I'm actually glad that this was the first thing they showed.
Right.
Because it really set the tone and the pace for this presentation. And yeah, I think it looks great. Like the only downside with this particular trailer is that we just don't know when it's coming out still. Like there's still no release window.
I thought I saw 2024. You're right. That's what thank you. You kind of corrected me there.
No date on that. We just know play it day one with Game Pass, and that's all we kind of know about Fable at this point. But I thought it was, again, like really great at setting the tone for Fable and kind of getting us excited for it more than anything. And yeah, I really liked what they showed from it, and I can't wait to see more. And again, I also like too that it reconfirmed kind of the tone of that game kind of being like whimsical and just British humor all the way. And of course, just having the chicken chaser segment where you kick the chicken, having that back, just knowing, knowing that that's there, just, brought all the feels back. And it really felt like Fable watching that trailer. So that's
so let me ask you guys this real quick. When do we see that game? When do you think we actually get our hands on it? Because obviously it looks great. Like it looks like it's in good shape. When do we get it?
So if you would have asked me before we got this showcase, Matt, I actually said would have. I've been saying for a long time, Fable fall 2024.
Okay.
But after seeing this showcase and other games that are coming next year, I actually think this is now 2025.
Yeah, I actually agree with you, Ryan. Yeah. Based on not necessarily what we saw, but yeah, what the rest of the lineup is.
Yeah.
Holiday 2025. Yeah. Yeah. Because we'll get to Hellblade and we'll kind of like give a rundown of what we can expect month by month over the next little while.
Because like I feel like before this showcase, if we didn't know about a lot of stuff we know about now, I really would have been saying like they need this game next fall to really, keep the momentum going for Xbox. But honestly, I don't think they need it now after everything they showed us today, which is a good thing, which is a good sign, I think.
And I think that they were very cognizant with what we got dates for versus what we didn't. Like there was a lot of 2024, regardless of like some early, some not. So I think you guys are maybe right. I think, I don't know, early to mid 2025 feels like it could happen.
Yeah. And actually even Yarden in chat says Holly 2025. Honestly, I think that's even pretty likely too. So
yeah.
All right. Moving on. The next game we saw, Compulsion Games' new game after We Happy Few. We got South of Midnight. This had a skeleton zombie kind of guy playing like a little banjo and
It was a guitar.
It was a guitar. But and you had this woman, she's walking into this swamp looking for this creature, and of course it comes out of the water, but that's kind of all we saw for this game. There's no release date or release window for this. We didn't see any gameplay or really get any kind of concept of what this game is going to be, other than, this unique kind of animation style, because it almost looks like a stop motion film from the cinematic we saw. So I'm curious to find out more. But Sean, I'll start with you. What did you think about South of Midnight?
I think this is a difficult thing for me personally. Usually when I see something like this, I'm quite disinterested, I would say, but everything here, I think there's so much detail and character to this trailer that I can't help but be captivated by. Like, what is with this dude? Is he dead? Is he sort of dead? Is he kind of like brought back to life? He's playing this guitar. And then the person who shows up to him is very modern looking. So it's like this, there's a bunch of clashing that's happening. And I remember thinking, whatever is about to happen, there's like a monster, some sort of creature that comes up from behind her. I'm like, she is super underprepared for this. And then she whips out like some sort of magic. So Compulsion, I think from We Happy Few showed us that there's a tremendous amount of imagination there and creativity that I think we saw a lot of that come to life here. So a good, it's like a reveal, I guess, of what is next on their plate. What is this? Is it a first-person shooter type of thing, like a BioShock that a lot of people were comparing We Happy Few to? What are we going to be playing here? I'm still left with that question, but a lot of creativity and another good start after they told us about something we've been asking questions about with Fable.
Matt?
Yeah, no, I thought that so I'm kind of in the exact same camp as Sean here. I was intrigued, like everything about the tone, the music, the kind of feel that this trailer gave off has me very interested to see what it is. I think it's just the biggest unanswered question is, what does this game actually play like? What is it kind of, what is it? What is this?
What is this?
So for me, I'm very curious to see more. I thought it kind of, again, following up on Fable and kind of knowing that it's coming to Game Pass and stuff, I thought it was a strong kind of, way to continue the showcase. But very, very curious to see more about it. But Ryan, what did you think about it?
Yeah, I thought the style looks pretty cool, but at this point I'm just like, it's hard for me to get excited without knowing what kind of game it is, especially because We Happy Few is definitely not a game for me, and we haven't really seen anything from Compulsion since then. So it's just like, it's hard. I'm tempering my expectations very much until we see the game, but it was just cool to see them here more than anything. Like I'm glad we saw Compulsion here and finally know what they're working on now at this point. And now, after and we'll get into this when we do our kind of a wrap up, but it's good finally to know what most of the first parties at this point are working on. Like we have a good idea as to almost everyone's project at this point. And there was a couple.
Well, the funny thing on that, Ryan, like I feel like going into this, it was, a lot of the commentary was, we already know what Xbox is doing. That's all they've been talking about for the last number of years. And as it turns out, like 21 some odd studios is a lot.
Yeah.
So there were still gaps in our knowledge on what is still to come. So yeah, I just wanted to comment on that. There were still, Phil Spencer wrapped it up at the end. Compulsion and who was the other one who revealed what their project was?
We'll talk about it later. We'll get to it.
Okay.
We'll save it. We'll save it, Sean.
All right.
Put a pin on it. Because it's time to talk about the announcement that got Court Lalonde very excited on stream. That is Star Wars Outlaws. It's coming 2024. This is the Ubisoft and Division developer Massive's new Star Wars game. Interestingly enough, though, fun fact, since you guys hadn't been on Twitter, you may not have caught this, and you might have gleaned this from the trailer. This, unlike the Division, you're not making your own character. This is actually centered around the woman, like the female character we saw in the trailer. Her name is Kay Vess, and this is kind of going to be her story. So it's going to be kind of like Jedi Fallen Order in a way where you're kind of following her story throughout the thing. And she's kind of like a bounty hunter character. And we're going to be learning more on the Ubisoft Direct tomorrow, which, by the way, we'll be reacting to right here. Or actually on the Twitch page, to twitch.tv
Ubisoft drops
live. And we'll be having Ubisoft drops because, of course, Ubisoft, we are partnering with Ubisoft on that stream. So make sure to come check that out as well. But yeah, this is coming out sometime next year. We don't know when, which unfortunately, Sean, means we have a locked pick now in Fantasy Draft versus the Trophy Room at this point with this game. But what did y'all think about this reveal? Matt, I'll start with you.
Yeah, dude, I'm in. It's cool to see something that's not Jedi. This is very much looking like, what 1313 possibly could have been. Obviously granted in an open world.
Nice.
I think this looks awesome. I like the tone of it. I like that, we have a main character that, I think we were talking about we're probably going to make our own characters. Nice to know that this is them saying, no, we're going to tell a story here. This is the main character. We're going to go out and do it. I'm very, very excited to see more tomorrow because, of course, we didn't get any gameplay out of this. Very much just kind of setting the tone for what this game is. Very, very excited to see more tomorrow. And if rumors are to be believed, this may be coming out in the first couple months of next year. Ubisoft has been on record before saying that they do have another big game launching before their fiscal year is up, which would be in the end of March, which would mean that the beginning of next year may just be incredibly stacked. I can't wait to see more tomorrow.
Nice. Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, we keep going. It's amazing how this whole commentary about these showcases tends to be, we need to see gameplay or therefore it's not worthy of my time. I totally disagree with that just as a general rule, especially this is the first that we're seeing this. I thought it looked like Star Wars. This looked like that's what the type of game we should be playing with our new consoles here. I cannot wait to see more. Obviously, gameplay will start to really sell us on this. I'm glad that we know what this game is called. I think it's a cool name.
Yep.
My one nitpick about it, which might be more major than I'm realizing, is when I saw Massive, the Division developers were making this, I thought we were kind of getting the Division with Star Wars. The loot, what is it called? Looter shooter kind of thing.
Yeah. And it might end up being that just on a single player scale.
Yeah, so that's the one thing I kind of was looking forward to playing Star Wars with my friends in a way, like in the same style that the Division was created. And the Division is special too because you can play by yourself, like single player, and it's actually a really fun game to play. But that's okay. We can still play single player games, and that's totally fine. So curious to learn more about Ubisoft, from Ubisoft. This was the first game so far that isn't coming to Game Pass day and date yet.
Yeah,
maybe
there's a
one
couple
day.
of those.
Maybe
there's a couple
we'll
of
learn.
those.
Mm-hmm.
But also we know that Ubisoft Plus is coming to Xbox, and you'll be able to get it through Ubisoft Plus. I think that's kind
true.
of why it probably won't be day one. Kind of like it's the Fallen Order or Jedi Survivor, where it's it'll come to game, like it'll be part of Game Pass eventually, kind of thing. And also, a little fun fact as well that I just found out on Twitter. Nikki Foy is the lead writer on this. She was one of the writers on Far Cry 6, and she led all of the writing on the Far Cry 6 DLC. So that's who like a key part of the writing team on this. So I wanted to point that out.
Nice.
Next up, we got an interesting looking indie game. This is 33 Immortals. This comes to us from Thunder Lotus, the company that made Spiritfarer. It's a 33 player co-op, like roguelike it kind of looks like. No release window as far as when this is coming out. We do know it's a Game Pass day and date game. But other than that, like the trailer looks out like that we're watching right now looks pretty cool. Like I like the animation style. You definitely tell like it's from the same developer with the a very similar animation style. But I don't know. I think this looks interesting. I'm curious to know though how the combat mechanics are actually going to work. as far as, tempering my own excitement behind this. But Matt, I know when we were watching it, I think you were the most excited about it. So tell me about it. What do you think?
Yeah, no, like I loved Spiritfarer, which is the last thing that we got from Thunder Lotus. And this obviously looks very, very different, but very much in the same wheelhouse in terms of the art style. I love the idea of this. Like, this kind of looks like Hades, but multiplayer in a way. I am curious, Ryan, I kind of share your reservations just because a lot of games like this, when it comes to the reactions and being able to pull things off quickly is a really fundamental part of this. So I'm curious as to how that will translate to online. But I'm very, very curious to see more. I thought the art style looks great. I think this looks really, really cool. Like, this is an easy pickup on Game Pass for me.
Yeah, for sure. Sean? Sean's muted, by the way.
Damn it. It's been a long time. My apologies. It's been a long time since I looked at a game and was wowed just by the number of players who can play it. And they've baked it into the title of this game, 33 Immortals. 33 people can play it once. Before we watched the Xbox showcase earlier today, I was streaming on Twitch at twitch.tv/carpoolgaming, playing a little bit of Diablo, and I just wished that we could play Diablo with more people. And here it is, like an hour later, an hour after that, play that style of game with 33 people. People, when I brought it up, I don't know if it was you, Ryan, or somebody else who was like, well, maybe it would break the game. And it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Break the game. Let me play with a few dozen people. I am here for it. But it's 2024, so a little far away on this one.
Yeah, a little bit far away. But, it's just like with a game like that, they'll probably announce it right before, like the release date right before it comes out, I would imagine.
Agreed.
But,
yeah.
To Matt's point, like that's an easy pickup and at least try it on Game Pass kind of game.
Day and date on Game Pass.
Yeah, which I'm actually pretty excited to play it there. Well, next up, I think this might have been one of the lulls, I think, for us in particular. Payday 3 is coming out September 21st. This has been in development for a while. This is, of course, from Starbreeze, the studio that made The Darkness, as well as, other, like the Chronicles of Riddick game as well. But it's mostly just Payday 3.
Those are good games, by the way.
Yes. Starbreeze has made good games in the past, but I've just never personally been into Payday. Like, I played Payday 2. It just wasn't really my thing at all. But I'm curious if either of you guys are actually excited about this. What do you think?
Matt's saying no. I mean, was this Game Pass, Ryan, did you say?
I believe so.
This game demands a Game Pass. We'll check in on this.
It is Game Pass. I'm checking along right now. It is Game Pass.
I feel like, man, when we gave away a bunch of Game Pass codes earlier today, thanks to our friends at Xbox Canada, we still have one still, if you're watching live, to give away later on today. So Game Pass is the theme of the show. I thought this looked still pretty okay, Ryan. To be honest with you, yeah. I think it looked way better than Payday typically looks. It usually looks a little bit more budget, and maybe there's elements to that, but it's a fun romp, a fun heist game, just kind of shoot a bunch of stuff and play with friends. So this is the best way for them to do it. I don't know that I would have bought this game, but as part of Game Pass, that's kind of what Game Pass is about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give it a whirl on Game Pass. I think it's a great point, Sean. Like, I never would have bought this, but playing with you guys, if we hop in for like a Saturday stream with some Payday 3, I mean, I could be convinced.
Yeah, this is the type of game that it's like perfect for Game Pass because it's multiplayer focused, and if all of your friends have Game Pass, then you all play together and have a good time. Like, but we said the same thing about Back 4 Blood as well. So I mean, like, and it was that was a great game to try out, even though it didn't kind of stick with us. We still had fun with it. So I
feel like that game actively pushed people away, though. Like they built in so many systems; it was hard to get into. From what I can understand from Payday, is that you can just like jump in and go do a mission or two together. But Back 4 Blood it kind of got a little ahead of itself, Yeah.
I would say the only downside with this kind of announcement as well is just it's coming out the same week as Mortal Kombat 1. So that kind of makes it tougher for someone like me even want to jump in on Game Pass because I know that's going to be kind of going to be dominating my week when it comes out. But
this year is crazy, dude.
It is. Yep. But moving on, Matt and I are excited about this one. Persona 3 ReLoad coming 2024. This actually, we probably would have blown the roof off this barn if this didn't leak ahead of time. Because I'd already seen this trailer, going into this at this point. But man, this game looks so good, Matt. My God, it looks so good.
Dude, it's literally exactly what we've been asking for. Yeah, like you mentioned, I feel like if this and the other title that we'll talk about in a little bit didn't kind of get leaked in the few days leading up to this, I think you and I literally would have probably crashed the stream from just being too loud. Like this is exactly what we've been asking for. Persona 3, 4, and 5 all have such special aspects to each one of them that make them some of the greatest RPGs out there. Persona 3 has like the darkest and weirdest story and definitely needed the most of a glow up. So I'm so happy that they're doing this and so many more people are going to get to experience this incredible game. Still some questions, obviously. We don't know just exactly what we're getting and what we're not getting when it comes to this. Is this the ultimate edition that we've been asking for, where we get, the female main character from Persona 3 Portable? Do we get the extra stuff from Persona 3 Fez? So there's still some unanswered questions, but regardless, like I'm in, dude. I can't wait for this. And coming to Game Pass day one.
Yeah, we don't even have to buy it. We already own the game, Matt, at this point.
But 100%, I'm going to anyway. If this is a special edition, I'm done. But like this, it looks beautiful. Like the UI, the menus, the music, everything about this. I'm over the moon.
Yeah. Same. Like that is easily like one of my most anticipated games for next year at this point, from everything that we know about already. Like Persona 3 is one of my favorite games of all time. And if they can nail it with this, as far as, bringing all of that stuff together and making it one cohesive experience, and also, bringing a lot of the gameplay improvements that we got with Persona 5 and adding it to Persona 3 story and music and world, like that's a slam dunk game right there. Like that's going to be that will be like a game of the year contender for next year, I think. If that comes to pass.
I'm 100% with you. And Sean, I'm curious, as a recent weeb who's kind of joining us in the realm of anime-esque games and RPGs, does this do anything for you? Are you even considering taking a look?
Are you kidding me? Of course, man. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
it showed so well. I saw that it leaked, but I didn't look into it. So I know the developers on social media, they revealed, was it the full trailer?
It was the full trailer.
Like what you saw today. So I didn't look. I just saw the news that came out of that. So I knew going in that it was going to show up here, but I didn't know what it looked like. And I'll say this. I thought it looked great. I thought the styling of the menus and everything looked really neat, but I've never played Persona 3. Like I entered into the world with Persona 4 Golden on my Vita, like a real PlayStation fan.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So I've never gone back to this. So I actually have to ask a question of you guys. Like Matt, I think you mentioned the glow up. Like talk to me. How different does this look from what you remember the original game looking like?
So for me, I got in with P3P, which was portable back on the PSP. I also played it on the Vita, and it was a very different game in terms of the way that you navigate. Like a lot of the environments that we see were just screens that you would kind of mouse around on with P3P. There wasn't really a lot of like the kind of open or semi-open world, or at least areas that you kind of were able to run through. So for me, this is what I imagined the game looking like when I played Persona 3
So this
Portable.
is totally different,
So it's different from the portable version that Matt's describing, because the PlayStation 2 version of Persona 3 is basically Persona 4 in a way, as far as the way you explore the environments and do everything. Because that was actually the engine that they developed for Persona 4 was from Persona 3. So everything that was kind of in Persona 4 was also in Persona 3, if that makes sense.
Kind of want to watch some comparison videos to see this, but it didn't look like it was being held back by something it was built off of before, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
now I don't have the
not.
reference, right? That's kind of what I'm trying to get at.
Like it's basically a remake of Persona 3, but in the Persona 5 engine and styling and gameplay.
There you go. Okay.
Makes perfect sense, which is exactly what I want from that.
Yep.
As a Persona
100%,
fan.
dude.
Which also I think like it might be a great way for people to get into the series as well, because especially if they don't change too much, like the story itself in Persona 3 is actually a lot shorter than Persona 5, so it actually might be a more manageable game for people, even with the extra content. Because that's still it's a 40-hour game still, so I mean it's not short, but it's not 100 hours like Persona 5 is.
Did they do Persona 5 on Game Pass as well?
It is.
And 4 Golden, dude.
That's bonkers, dude. Like that is crazy to me. And Ryan, we just did a whole is Game Pass still good kind of episode of the Xbox Drive. Like it's, I don't know, man.
I
think people
mentioned
get
him
down
on
on stuff.
that episode, but you kind of brushed me off a little bit when I mentioned it. But
I don't know. Maybe I just got, maybe it was the music. Who knows? Maybe I'm just in a good mood today. But
maybe
Persona's a big deal for Xbox, and it just seems to have nestled in. It's got a home here. It's not like a one-off. I think is maybe a bigger takeaway for today that it wasn't a fluke that they got Persona 5 and Persona 4 Golden and that kind of stuff.
The fact that they have the Persona announcements or the Atlas announcements that we have at this showcase just shows to me how successful Game Pass must have been to those games.
Yeah, good call.
Or late last year, because Persona 5 came to Game Pass in October of last year. So, I mean, it's not like it was just came back to being this
I need to play it.
With P3P and P4G also being there as of January this year, like Persona is finding a nice little home on Game Pass. So like that must be doing well, dude. Like to get both of the, announcements that we got today, we'll touch on the next one in a second. But both of them coming to Game Pass. Like
day one too, which is gonna be crazy.
Day one.
Yeah.
Sega, man. Look at it.
Well, next up, a game I was not expecting a release date for, but it was here. Avowed showed up here. Obsidian's brand new game in the stylings of the Elder Scrolls, or at least they're doing like an Elder Scrolls inspired game. It's coming out 2024. So next year we are getting Avowed. We had that, in like cinematic trailer that kind of showed off what the gameplay concept was to look like a couple years ago. But I'm so glad we finally got like a really good look at it. And again, like it's all in-engine cutscenes and gameplay and just a great mix of the game. Like I feel like we got like a really good sense of what this game's going to look like and how it's going to play. And this game looks amazing. I can't wait for it. But Sean, what do you think about Avowed?
When I've been hearing and talking about Avowed over the last little while since they gave us essentially a logo reveal, however long ago it was, it's just like, I've always obviously known it has existed, but has always felt very, very far away and just like this almost vaporware type of thing. And there's nothing against Obsidian or anything. I've been waiting for this moment, I guess, for it to become real, and it became real in a big way. When the trailer started, there's like a boat, and there's almost like a medieval type of feel to it. I thought it was Age of Empires. I was just there, like, here we are with our quick little ode, couple minutes to Age of Empires, which didn't show up at the show at all. And then Obsidian Entertainment logo shows up, and I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. So I was very excited to see this. I thought it was just another edition of how, like, if you like RPGs, like, here we are. What are we talking about here? Avowed and Persona and all this stuff. Fable over there too. So
over
so
on
far,
Xbox,
so good.
The RPG company.
Who knew, man? Who knew? You fight bears, you got bow and arrows, you're fighting all sorts of monsters and skeletons, and I thought it looked really great, and I can't wait. I just wish it was sooner. I think that's my overall comment for a lot of this stuff, but at the same time, I'm just talking about how there's too many games, so who cares, man? Coming to Game Pass.
Looks pretty awesome. Matt, what did this do for you?
Yeah, no, I'm totally in agreement with Sean here. I think this looks great. We were kind of talking as we were watching live that like Obsidian's been moving at a clip. Like they've been putting out game after game. Pentiment was a wonderful surprise last year. This looks like it's going to be awesome next year. Like I'm totally in on this. I want to see more. I want to get my hands on it. Like I don't need anything more from it to be in, but I just want to see more of that world because it looks so visually interesting. Looks really cool. I want to play this game. And
you made a good point during the stream, Matt, where I feel like, Obsidian almost feels like the Insomniac of Xbox at this point, where like that pickup of of Obsidian by Microsoft has been like one of their best pickups at this point has been Obsidian. So happy to see Obsidian's new game finally here. And we knowing when it comes out, I think is huge, which is also good. Cause like, again, a lot of the first party stuff we saw today, besides, Fable and stuff at midnight at the beginning of the show, we got release windows for it, which is pretty awesome. Well, next up, we got a couple of announcements here, and I think we can probably go through these fairly quickly, just because I don't think we're the audience for these. So first off, Sea of Thieves, The Legend of Monkey Island got announced. This is a crossover, of course, with the Secret of Monkey Island universe in Sea of Thieves, coming July 20th. I don't think, none of us really play Sea of Thieves. This doesn't really get me excited to play Sea of Thieves or go back to it because I also don't like pirates. So I don't think either. Are either of you on board to go back to this? Because I don't. I'm personally no.
I wish the answer was yes. The crossover is perfect though. Like I'm a big fan of Monkey Island, of course. But yeah, I wish I liked Sea of Thieves more. And sorry to everybody. Sorry, Skinny Matt. Sorry to everybody who likes Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I
Not
think
for
like
me.
anyone, like I think if you're into Sea of Thieves, and this is like you said, a perfect kind of crossover that they could do. One that's a no-brainer kind of crossover.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just not really Sea of Thieves people. But I think the Sea of Thieves community is probably pretty excited about this. I saw on Twitter a lot of people saying positive things about this who are into Sea of Thieves.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
I don't hate it.
But Sean, next up, I was not expecting this. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 edition coming out in 2024. So this is not apparently not an update to Microsoft Flight Simulator. This is a brand new game, just Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 edition, kind of like what they used to do back in the day on the old PC days, Sean, with Flight Simulator, where they had like Flight Simulator, and then the year is usually how they did that before. So you've got like rescue missions, you've got all kinds of like interesting looking things that you can do in Flight Simulator. I personally probably not going to go back to this unless there's like some seriously objective based gameplay that you're getting here. Cause I think, we talked about it on stream, but it was like just making your own fun in Flight Simulator was never super appealing to me. But if there's like an actual, maybe a campaign or some missions you can go on, like rescue missions like we're kind of seeing in the trailer here, like that gets me infinitely more excited to maybe install this and try it out. But I'm curious to know, Sean, being the flight sick master at Carpool Gaming, the one who was, I think, the most excited for Flight Simulator out of anyone I know in real life. What do you think about this news, man?
I love space and aviation in general, Ryan Turford. This, I'll start with my gripe. I kind of wish that they would reimagine the logo. I know that they're paying homage to the old school logo, but like reinvent it, like make it like less, it looks real kind of dorky. Yeah. Like this game could be cool. This could be the Forza Motorsport of aviation. I feel like there's the simulation I think is really amazing. It looks great. What I just got from this is, and we're saying it on stream, look how massive this looks. Look at all the different things that you can do. So I'm excited to get my hands on it because I'm right with you. I can't seem to make my own fun just up in the sky flying around. Like it seems like there's a lot more specificity here and they kind of guide me towards doing things. I'd love to kind of see how that goes. Like, can I have a like almost like a garage full of airplanes, a hangar, if you will, hangar Area 51 or a hangar 18 or anything else that you might think about. I would love that very much. Megadeth reference. Everybody was expecting.
Absolutely. Matt?
Yeah, I don't know. My Microsoft Flight Simulator, I've actually never played one. They always look visually interesting. But what we were talking about when we were watching was just how meaty this looks. Like there's a lot of different stuff that looks like you can do here. I was kind of expecting them to do like, 2 or 3 of this ilk of, rescue or this or that. But we got I feel like 10 to 12 different things that you can can.
It kept going. That's what they got this and this. And like,
here we go.
It's like the whole trailer. So oil rigs making a big splash here at Xbox Showcase, by the way.
Nice. I thought this looked really awesome. I think it looks beautiful. And similarly, like the lack of like a defined campaign is always what kind of kept me away from it. But seeing that there might be some stuff that I can kind of hone in on and give a try, I'll probably check this out next year. This looks cool.
Nice.
It looks cool.
I like it.
In addition to that, speaking of Flight Simulator, we also got a Dune crossover with Microsoft Flight Simulator coming out November 3rd, just in time for Dune Part 2. So you get to fly the Dune ships in Flight Simulator. Look at that. I mean, again, this doesn't really do anything for me because I haven't seen Dune, so I really don't have much to say about this one.
Keep the weird crossovers coming. I love
100%. Yeah.
Doesn't have to be totally real. Like this means anything is possible at this point.
Yeah. And actually they've done like the Halo crossover as well. So they've done like the sci-fi crossovers with Flight Simulators. It's not
totally. Yeah. Got the Top Gun in there.
I was just going to say, you remember when they did Top Gun in Flight Simulator?
Sure do, Ryan. Yep.
I don't think OpenCritic remembers. But,
oh, damn.
Moving on to the next thing, while I give Sean some time to tee this one up. Hellblade 2. Senua's Saga got like a mini gameplay-esque trailer, I will say, because a lot of it's cinematics. But if you actually played the original Hellblade, a lot of that game is cinematic. So this it seems on point with what I'm kind of expecting from Hellblade, where you have kind of minimal exploration and minimal combat, and for the most part, you're mostly interacting with cinematics or just walking forward. And we saw a lot of that in kind of today's kind of gameplay demonstration. But holy crap, this game looks awesome. Like, this game looks gorgeous and stunning and all the other adjectives that you could use to describe what this game would look like if you were describing a pretty game. So, and also it's good to just know when it's coming out, because it's coming out next year. This is, of course, the first game we actually got announced for Series X. So it's good to know that, that it's actually coming out and when it's coming out. But this is exciting. So unfortunately, Sean, we were missing out on it with Fantasy this year. But are you excited for Hellblade?
I thought, you mentioned, Ryan, how visually stunning this game was. I just want to call out the overall production value of this. And I think coming off of Flight Simulator as well, and I think Avowed looked really good. And there's a lot here that, like, I think, again, overall thoughts, we saw a lot of next gen, I think, today, finally. Not just from first party, but overall, but especially from first party. The production value here looks amazing. And when I look at exclusives on consoles, like, I kind of want that, almost like what Final Fantasy VII used to do. Like, this is possible in games. This is amazing. And I think a lot of us here who are watching this together had a very similar audio experience. That's something that the first game was really well known for, but it came through in the trailer on a stream. And I'm like, what is this game going to look like when I actually dive in and I'm experiencing the entire story and going through this journey? I think this showed so strong. Again, it didn't need to be too terribly gameplay oriented. I don't know that really anybody played the original Hellblade for the gameplay. It's the experience and the story. This is going to go down, I think, as one of the most important games for Xbox. I'm so anticipating this one. Got ASMR chills the whole time. And it does seem like there's a corner that Senua is going to be turning with this game, like a little more confident, like there's still the doubt there. There's still the self-questioning, but she's going to make some choices here that's going to take us into some really interesting places. I hope. Very good showing from them, though.
Yeah, like this, especially too, like, this is an Unreal Engine 5 game. And it's our first look at, like, a real Unreal Engine 5 game at this point. Not just, tech demos, or not just, games that, run terribly. Like, this game kind of blew our socks off. But Matt, I'm taking away from your turn. What do you think?
No, you're good, dude. I will go so far as to say that this is probably one of, if not my favorite trailer out of the entire showcase. There was throughout the entirety of it, we were chattering, we were having fun. All four of us were deathly silent through the entirety of this trailer. We were so quiet. And, like, Sean, you kind of made mention to this earlier. I don't have an inherent issue with a CGI trailer or an in-game engine trailer, kind of like what I think we got here, of a game when it sells me on what that game is. I think more than anything, this made me want to go back and play the first one properly, because I noped out of that after the first couple hours, just wasn't into the puzzles. Maybe I'll go dumb it down and just kind of enjoy the ride. But this made me want to go back and play the first one. This sold me entirely on the audio design, how visually interesting this game looks. Not just from, she's in a cave, like the way that, like, it was almost like the mirror dimension shattering effect going on all around her. Like, it looked stunning. So if this is the bar, I'd be surprised if the actual gameplay doesn't look anything like. I would be surprised if it didn't look similar to this, because I think it will.
No, it'll look exactly the same as what we saw here.
So that's what I mean. Like, this looked beautiful. This sold me on the game. This made me want to replay the first one. Like, this was a pin. Like, again, you could have heard a pin drop with how quiet we were listening to this. Just a brilliant showing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they really, like, hit it out of the park. And Ninja Theory has always been, like, an incredible studio, and now we're finally seeing Ninja Theory with a budget, which is kind of like a scary concept, because all their games, like even the original Hellblade, like they had made that on a very tight budget. And it was one of the best looking games, like, in the year it released, which is just crazy to think about. So seeing them with an actual budget and a real team, like the team at Microsoft behind them, like, I think we're seeing them pay dividends with Hellblade 2. So can't wait for that. I loved the first one, and I can't wait for this new one. 2024 is all we know about. But next up, Matt, I'm only going to go to you on this one because this is the most Matt game that we'll probably talk about today. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, or Like a Dragon 8. Because, get it? The infinite sign that they show in the thing is at 8 sideways. It is coming out early 2024, not Game Pass. They confirmed not coming in Game Pass like I originally thought in my prediction. But Matt, the floor is yours on this one, man.
Dude, I just, again, when it comes to studios that put out games at a quality and at a clip that RGG does is incredible. The fact that this is early 2024. Ryan, we're living in a world where we might get Persona 3 and Like a Dragon 8 within the span of a couple months, if not the same month. I thought this showed great. And like we've heard stories again. I love how RGG does their stuff. The Like a Dragon 7's initial unveiling was an April Fool's joke. Last year there was an interview with the president that was like, oh, RGG like a Dragon never goes overseas. This is a very obviously that they're going overseas, they're going somewhere else. We heard English in the trailer. I thought this showed great. I think it's a great tonal, experiment showing us that we're going overseas, showing the humor is still very much intact. I cannot wait for this, and I cannot believe it is coming so soon. This for me was like a mid next year game at the earliest. And if this is early 2024, I cannot wait. I love this series, and it's just so special, and I can't wait to play this game.
Nice. And yeah, we're going to see more of it, next week, which is pretty exciting. So yeah, between this and the man who erased this name or later this year, Like a Dragon fans are eating it up, man. They're eating good at this point,
dude.
So there you go. But all right, moving on to a game. I think this is the one lull we had in the showcase. Fallout 76 in Atlantic City. It is quote unquote coming soon. It's Fallout 76 in Atlantic City. I don't think we have anything to say about it because you tell the pin dropped after that announcement as well, because none of us were excited about it. So
Bit of a thud.
Yeah.
I wish though, it's definitely a regretful thud because there's so much promise in a concept like that. I'm glad that it still exists. It at least serves that point, Ryan, and maybe there's a reminder to 6 or 7 people out there who might play 76. I did it backwards.
Yeah, I see what you did there.
I wish I was playing this, man. It should be cool. But who knows? I'm curious to know if anybody else out there is playing it and if I could be convinced to join them, but probably not.
Yeah, this is a game we should be excited about, but it's a shame that we're not.
It is a shame.
None of us are. Mm-hmm. But moving on, this one got Ryan Turford very excited. This is a new IP from Capcom called Path of the Goddess. It's coming to Game Pass day and date, so day one. And it looks like this, like a Japanese mythological game with some black ooze and some crazy looking creature designs and stuff like that. It looks like a hack and slash game. At first I actually thought it might be like an Onimusha reboot or in part of the Onimusha series, but it's not. It's a brand new IP, but I love fast action games, and I was picking up everything this game was putting down at this point. This game looks very much on Ryan Turford's radar, very much a game for me where I'm pretty excited to learn more about this game because they kind of mixed it with cinematics and concept with actual gameplay kind of in between throughout this trailer, and I thought it looked pretty cool. So it's coming out next year, but anyone else excited about this one besides just me? What do you guys think?
No, I'm in. This looks great. The action looks fast and fluid. The world design, the colors and the design of this game just looks really, really cool. I'm in.
Yeah. It's probably
Yarden in chat says I call this new Onimusha. I might call it Aminusha, Ryan Turford.
Oh, dude.
Or Ani Meowsha, if you like as well.
Thank you, Sean.
I don't have a whole lot to say about the game specifically because it's just a whole lot coming at you. Very strange, a bit of an acid trip during the showcase here. It was at this point in the showcase where I was thinking, what variety we've gotten so far. This is just so different from everything else that we've seen so far. We've got a couple clips of gameplay here. So it looks very cool. Looks very imaginative and diverse and something else that I haven't really seen before. So that's what I'm here for. A brand new game I've never seen, almost like a concept that I'm unfamiliar with. So yeah, give me more. And I think this was Game Pass as I ramble at the end of this. Yeah, coming to Game Pass. So good for Capcom. Yeah.
And I'm hoping we see more of this at the Capcom showcase tomorrow as well, because we know a Capcom showcase is happening.
True.
And I would love to see maybe they actually, run through the game a little bit or do something else. But there also was no date. So we don't know how far away this game actually is. I guess we'll
get it tomorrow. Do you think we'll get it tomorrow? I think we'll get it tomorrow.
Yeah, I think they'll at least tell us the release window for this tomorrow.
Maybe we might get it tomorrow.
Yeah. But, similarly to when I gave Matt the floor, Sean, I'm going to give you the floor for this one. Forza Motorsport coming out October 10th.
Yes.
It's coming. What do you think, my friend?
the top of my list. I know that I'm going to come across as a fanboy or whatever you want to call it at this point. I know Spidey's coming out a few days after this, and the fall is very, very busy, but I have been anticipating and waiting for Forza Motorsport for very long. Many of us were expecting it to launch alongside the console, by the way, 3 years ago. So this has been a long time coming. I did have my worries that this was going to slip into 2024. So to see it locked in for October, that's I think what took over my excitement. When I immediately exclaimed, like I was very excited for October, and then people were like, oh, that's very close to Spider-Man. Don't care. I just want this game in my hands. I'm this close to buying a wheel, a racing wheel. So I'll have my flight stick, I'll have a racing wheel, and all this other stuff. Forza is a special game, and I'm glad to see. I feel like the walls are coming down. The guards are coming down a little bit for people who have, for years and decades even, looked at a motorsport game and went, it's not for me. It's too simulatey. It's not accessible to me. And I think the Horizon games have just done this beautiful job to contribute towards that. People start to think, well, I did like Horizon. Like maybe there's something here for me. And I'm stoked to get my hands on this game to see maybe if Microsoft or Xbox or Turn 10 is aware of that in a way that I don't want them to reduce how simulator style this game is, because I know a lot of people get a lot out of it. But how are they going to roll out the welcome mat for people to play this? It's on Game Pass, just like everything else from first party, which is great. People owe it to yourself just to see the quality of it. And me, you guys know me. I can't even play Tears of the Kingdom. I can't fight my way out of a damn shrine. Like I'm a dumb when it comes to game. I'm telling you, Forza does a great job historically of welcoming you on in. And personally, Ryan, I look at this game kind of like a RPG where I'm collecting different assets and leveling up and getting more credits and buying new parts and making my cars a little bit faster and stronger and more capable and all those things. The way that these games welcome you as far as like the difficulty and the racing tracks and the ABS and the turn controls and all these things. Other people, smarter people than me, will talk about the tuning and how the rubber grips the road and how the sunlight like impacts the grip. Like who cares? I don't understand it at all. I'm not here to talk to you or try to convince you on any of that. I actually think it's quite the opposite. That Forza in the past has done a great job. This is a bit of a reset too. It's not Forza 9 or 8 or whatever the next.
Yeah, it's just Forza Motorsport.
Back to the beginning. So I think that's it for me. I'm glad it's still coming. Day one on Game Pass. I'm there for it, man. Holy crap.
Yeah. And also, I'm going to answer Ebersol's chat. It's a question in chat because I know Tim actually timed in with about this, but I'll mention it here just in case any of our audio listeners are confused, because it's been a long time since we've had a motorsport game specifically. Like I think the last one was 6 on like when the 1X came out.
We had 7. I think we had 7.
Oh, that's true. But motorsport is essentially like the simulation version of Forza, where it's not an open world game. It's not trying to be, this big kind of open world playground. It's very much a traditional sim style racing game. Very similar to something like Gran Turismo 7 that we got last year, where, it's very linear based. Like you have a bunch of different, missions and races and stuff you go on. You collect cars throughout the experience and you tune those cars and you just have a ball.
Well, they kind of group them together too, Ryan. Like you could be in this style of cars and racing in this style of cars and kind of progressing through that thing. At least they did in 7. So that's kind of what I mean. The way that they guide you along, they don't just like plop you in a game and go pick your car and your track and go have fun. That's not what this is about at all. There's the way it feels like there's progression, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And that's where the linkage to like an RPG kind of comes in.
Yeah. That's the main reason why, the like Playground, for example, got brought in to do Fable at this point, right?
I agree. Yeah, definitely. Totally.
Yeah. Matt, does this do anything for you? I didn't want to leave you out, by the way.
No, you're all good. I actually am curious to give it a whirl. I really enjoyed Horizon. That was like the last one was my first kind of journey into anything Forza. And it was awesome. And I understand that this is a different beast. I understand that this is a much more sim than Horizon traditionally is. But with it coming to Game Pass, why not give it a chance? Like I'll definitely give it a whirl.
Nice.
One other thing I wanted to, I know this, I'm getting excited about this game, so I apologize for going long.
It's fine.
But I felt like last time they showed us this a year ago, they kind of did the opposite of what you typically see with a racing game, which is they slowed it down. A lot of time with racing games, it goes super fast and you're not even able to see any of the details. They slowed it down so much and there's so much detail here. I might have liked last year's showcase of this game better. What I got out of this year was that it's coming, that we have a date. But I think what I saw last year might have been more exciting. So if people are seeing this, not remembering what what they showed last year, go back, check it out. It's, 5 or 6 minutes or so, and it might pique your interest even more than what we saw today.
Yeah, like last year felt more like the deep dive into the game, and this was like, hey, by the way, just so you know, it's coming. There's a car on stage, and oh, by the way, here's the release date. Kind of
totally.
Thing.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, actually, these are a couple of lulls in the show as well, because we got Elder Scrolls Online Necrom out June 20th, the newest expansion for Elder Scrolls Online. We already knew it's coming, and it's coming out in a couple weeks. So that was that. And then, Sean, Overwatch 2 got a trailer as well. PvE missions are coming to Overwatch on August 10th, and that's all we got.
They sure are. Overwatch was at the showcase last year, I think, and I felt like it was just totally different. Overwatch is in a different place last year than it is now, so this year did feel weird to see it here.
I think honestly, Sean, I think that, with what we know about Activision at this point, I think Overwatch is going to be at every Xbox show pretty much going forward at this point.
Yeah.
So I think you can kind of expect it to be there. Well, next up, Matt, it's time to get excited again. Persona 5 Tactica, November 11th. This is a Persona 5 tactical role-playing game. And it is in like the chibi style that we saw in Persona Q. But it's not a crossover game with the other Persona games like Persona Q was. But this trailer also, oh my God, Matt, it looks so good. It looks so good. This is exactly the if they're going to do a Persona side game, this is the direction I would love to see them go in. And I'm glad they're finally doing this, man.
Dude, I'm 100% with you. Like, you made the joke when we heard about the rumors of a Persona 5T that it was a tactics game. And I think you and I both kind of really wanted that, but also held out hope that was actually going to be a real thing. Yeah. And here we are. We live in a world where Persona 5 Tactica exists. It looks awesome. I like the tone. I love a good tactics game. This is basically Fire Emblem Persona, which, we've kind of gotten before, but this is in its actual realization. And the fact that it's coming this year, we're not even 6 months out from this game. I can't wait. Like, I don't know. For me, I know people are like, oh, we're getting sick of the Persona 5 cast. I don't care, dude. Every Persona 5 spinoff that we've gotten so far has been of great quality, has been a lot of fun, has taken us to a new genre and a new place. I don't mind. It's not like this is taking away from a Persona 6. We already know that they're very actively working on that. So for me, if this is what we're gonna get in between Persona 5 and 6, I'm in, dude. I can't wait to play this. Going from Spider-Man to this in October to November, can't wait. Look, it looks adorable. It looks awesome, and it's just I'm so stoked, dude.
Yeah, as a Persona fan as well, like between this and Persona 3, like this is exactly what I wanted at this 100%. Point. Like the only thing we're really missing at this point that I would have been able to ask for besides Persona 6 is something with Persona 1 and 2. Like leaving those games still kind of in the void at this point just still makes me sad when I look at it, especially Persona 2, because that game, like, there isn't even a good way to play that in North America. So it's just like those games I think are kind of like the next, I hope, that get love at some point, after Persona 6 comes out. But yeah, I think like both of these announcements from Atlas and both of them coming to Game Pass as well, just oh my God, like this is such a great move.
Right. I have to ask, have you heard the rumors?
The rumors? Do
you want me to tell you the rumors?
You can tell me if you want. Well, although at Xbox Drive, you usually don't talk about rumors, but
okay, fine, never mind. No rumors then.
No,
I want to know.
Sean wants to know.
Evidently, they are making a Persona team-up game through 1 through 5 with all of them, with all the main protagonists. And evidently, it's coming out next year. And apparently, it's like a party game, like a Mario Party style thing, but Persona. So
sign me up. I will take it.
Here we go, dude. Here we go. But yeah, dude, can't wait.
Yeah. All right. Well, and Sean, anything Persona 5 Tactica, do you care?
Do I care? Absolutely. I can't try to claim the same years-long fandom as you guys, but like I just feel like this is, once we have it in our grubby little hands, we're gonna wonder how we went so many years without a Persona Tactics game.
That's true.
It just seems to make so much sense. The chibi style, very inviting as well. Game Pass just continues to add value. So yes, check. November, I don't know. Is there anything else happening in November?
I think that's one of the only games we actually have like a November release date for. I
think we're good.
Right now, according to GameSpot, the 3 games that we have with November release dates are Jumanji Wild Adventures on November 3rd, The Day Before on November 10th, and then Hogwarts Legacy on Switch on November 14th.
November? That's weird for November to be clear.
A weirdly quiet November, yeah.
Well, actually, you're forgetting Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name November 9th.
Come on, GameSpot, you didn't update the list with Like a Dragon Gaiden? What is this? Forget you.
I mean, the fun fact is, though, literally those are both Sega games coming out a week apart, Matt.
Dude,
which is funny to think about.
God.
But I mean, there's a lot of other things that can fill that November void as well, because like that Sonic game, for example, is still coming out this fall, but doesn't have a release date.
Yeah,
like, there's a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah,
that
that's
is
true.
Still dated for this year, but just don't
still
have
hanging.
release dates yet.
Very
Still
true.
hanging.
I think
looks
those are
cool.
the type of games we see in November, or
like to
if
try
God
this.
forbid, if Nintendo releases anything in November.
Like no Call of Duty, no Battlefield, like none of the traditional multiplayer big shooters that we'd expect to kind of come around that time.
Well, they keep saying a new Call of Duty game is coming out this fall still, but hasn't been announced yet. So that might be a November game too, but we'll see.
Traditionally.
Everybody moved out of November and into September and October, man.
Yeah, and January and February of the next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, after Persona 5 Tactica, we got a trailer for Starfield, you guys. Oh my God. Oh, but geez. What? But I was gonna say, Sean went to pull it up to play it, but we're gonna save our Starfield discussion, I think, till the end, because that way we can talk about the Starfield Direct and all that stuff. But it was weird to have a trailer for it in the middle and then have the Direct afterwards. Is all I'm gonna say about it.
Yep.
It was a good trailer though.
Good trailer. I like space.
I do see the value in it for people that wouldn't stick around to see the full gameplay reveal after. So
Agreed.
and for them, for some people, they may not have even known that there was a Starfield Direct after if they were only showing up for Xbox. So I see its point. I don't think it overstayed its welcome. I think it was long enough. I think it showed a good enough glimpse of the game to kind of tee up what would come after. But yeah, I get it. I wasn't mad at it. It's not like it was a trailer for like a show or like a movie or anything.
I mean, at least it wasn't a trailer for Foam Stars, Matt. That's all we can kind of.
Bro, did you see those
true.
reactions online?
Yeah,
people are saying
actually
it's really
excited about
good.
that game.
Yeah, Splatoon killer. Let's go.
I mean, just like how Haze was the Halo killer that they claimed it was going to be. All right, moving on. We got Jasant. I don't know how to say it. They just wrote the words on the screen. I'm just trying to pronounce it. This is, I mean, it's from Don't Nod. It's a brand new game from Don't Nod, and they're a French studio, so that name actually kind of makes sense. It's coming fall 2023. You play as this, mountain climber, and she's got this little thing, this little like creature on her back that then helps her out with some puzzles, and you're scaling mountains and stuff. It looks like a game that exists, but it's got like a cool art style and stuff. But I don't have too much to say because again, I don't have much to say. But what do you think, Sean? I'll start with you.
More variety, a totally different game. We've never seen anything like this. So much color and creativity on display here. One of the game mechanics that I think maybe some people get a little sick of in games like Uncharted, perhaps, and you do a whole lot of climbing in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. It seems like that's primarily what we're doing here is we are scaling almost unclimbable, very vertical mountains. But I'm curious about this, dude. It could be maybe very soothing, maybe almost like a journey type of experience. You're like, it's more about the journey than the specific game mechanics, but very cute, very cool. Was this did you say this was the Don't Nod one?
It is the Don't Nod game.
Don't Nod. There it is, right on the screen as we say it. I thought it looked really cool. So yeah, I have my heart and arms are wide open, as Creed would say.
With arms wide open.
Yep, that's how they sang it too. Just nailed. I thought that was Scott Stapp right there, man. Holy cow.
That's me.
Right, Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with Sean. Like this gives me similar, like very journey, very just chill and kind of, and hang out and enjoy the vibes. Like this looks like it's going to be a fun adventure. And like we kind of mentioned on stream, it's Don't Nod, so prepare to cry. This looks great.
Yeah, I'm expecting good things from this one. But yeah, so before we move on, couple quick notes. I'm going to come in with here some breaking news.
I have breaking news for you too, Ryan.
I know. So first off, we might even have the same one because they updated the announcement of Persona 3 ReLoad. This will not include any of the content from FES or portable version, including the female protagonist. Because of course.
Sorry.
So and apparently the quote from them is the basic concept of Persona 3 Remake is to remake Persona 3. We don't have the FES or portable contents included, which makes me very, very sad.
Atlas gonna Atlas, man. Like, come on.
I don't know any different.
Well,
they made a whole like secondary story to it with the female main character it basically flips what's going on. Instead of playing as the male, you can play as the female. You have like male romance options. It was a fantastic ad that a lot of people really loved. And then the bonus content from FES is essentially like a whole end game. Like
it's the real ending. It's the real ending to the game. That's the problem.
There's a genuine story ramifications and everything that happens afterwards, and they're not including any of that
Yeah, which
Come
makes me
on,
sad.
Atlas. Do you think, Ryan, there's a chance we get this as DLC?
No.
Wow.
I wish we would.
Just crushing dreams.
Because
Holy
you know
cow.
what? Because you know what, Matt? What they would end up doing, knowing Atlas, they would just release Persona 3 Relink Royal Edition with all that stuff. Why do DLC when you can release a whole new game? But then second piece of news is actually, much more exciting. Microsoft announced on Tuesday, June 13th, so this Tuesday, at 10 a.m. Pacific time, there will be an Xbox Games Showcase extended stream featuring the following games: Avowed, Towerborn, Senua's Saga 2, Hellblade 2, The Elder Scrolls Online Necrom, and Microsoft Flight Simulator Dune expansion will all be shown off with in-depth interviews and gameplay.
Cool.
So
cool.
Make sure. So I might have to come back and watch that. We'll see. But that's exciting news. But anyways, getting back to the showcase, we got to start wrapping some of the stuff up. Next up, we got Still Wakes the Deep. This is the new game from the Chinese Room, developers of Dear Esther, as well as Everyone's Gone to the Rapture. They mostly are known for walking simulator games.
Yeah.
And, this one, is on the ocean and there's boats, and that's all we kind of
and
know.
And an oil rig. Another oil rig is here, Ryan.
That's
yes.
The year of the oil rig.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
This is early 2024. It's Game Pass day one, so you can download this and play it, which is good for a game like this, I think, as well. Like, I don't know if it needs like a full $60 release or anything like that, or outside of Game Pass. This is just the best way to play it. So, what do you guys think about this one? Because I thought this one was just okay. Like, again, I liked the variety here, as you guys pointed out earlier, but it also is not one that got me like super excited either.
Oh, it looks gorgeous. I think this game looks great. I think the parkour almost looks really good. I think the isolation of an oil rig just totally works. I think the vibe is that they're going for. I'm in, man. Sumo Digital has something to do with this game too. Did you mention Sumo Digital, Brian Trevor?
I think they're publishing it.
Very cool. Absolutely perfect for Game Pass. Donnie Reese in the chat says supposed to be a horror game. I got horror vibes, like very alone. What was that noise over there? Are you going to be able to survive whatever disasters are coming over here? Is there something else happening? Are there spirits at play? Who knows? But I am very intrigued. Definitely adding to the variety of games. I'm definitely going to be playing this one.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm with Sean entirely. I thought it showed really cool. I think it looks beautiful, very atmospheric. Again, like I'm anticipating what I would want out of this is a quick 5 to 7 hour story. Give me like Firewatch, but on an oil rig. Like this. I
felt
kind of what
Firewatch vibes too. Yeah, totally.
That's what I want out of this, and I'm in. It looks cool.
Nice. I'm glad you guys are excited. And again, this is one where it's on Game Pass, so I'll try it out, and we'll definitely play it. Next up, we got Dungeons of Hinterberg. This comes to us from Curve Games, another Game Pass day one. Really interesting, like cel-shaded art style, where you play this girl and she just likes to go explore dungeons, and she likes to, just to go explore this very colorful world. It is coming out sometime soon, quotation marks. There's no date for this one. But it looked interesting. It looked cool. And again, I liked, the variety, both with the combat and kind of the exploration and the visuals going on with this one.
Numbers, Ryan. She hit people and the numbers popped out. So that means it's a real good game.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Well, it appeals to the RPG senses. Well, speaking of the RPG senses,
the RPG
Matt,
senses.
Use your RPG senses and give me your hype level on this one. What do you think?
Dude, I thought this looks beautiful. I really in on it. I think, similarly, like, very much Hi-Fi Rush in its presentation and its aesthetics. I love the perspective switches. The combat looks fun.
Yes.
I'm really into this. I think it showed very, very well. And yeah, I'm in, dude. I can't wait for this. I thought this was great. And like going back to Sean's earlier point, like the diversity and like the difference of game to game. Like we just went from oil rig to this fantasy, ridiculously beautiful world. And I'm in on both, dude. This game looks like a lot of fun.
Nice, man. Sean?
I have a question. I'm wondering if this game stars our very own Lockleth with a sword. I think this is what I saw. Like it starts out very cozy looking, and then it goes to the window, and she's got a sword just kind of like casually sitting around there. Matt, You touched on the perspective shifts. That's what, in addition to the overall style and vibe that it was given off, like it switched perspectives a couple times. I went, that is so, I love it when games do that. And what comes to mind for me when thinking about that is Nier Automata. Like I just think that it looks so like, change it up. Surprise me. I was full of delight with this one. This is day one with Game Pass, so sign me up. Absolutely.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I can't wait to try this one out as well. Again, it's on Game Pass, so I will definitely be playing this one as well. Well, next up, speaking of no Game Pass, Sean, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, September 26th, starring Idris Elba and Keanu Reeves. It's happening. Keanu Reeves was here, Sean. You know,
yeah, we just spent 5 minutes talking about him introducing this, Ryan. Like, he's just so good. We all want to be him, but I love
Sean. Can I make a request before we kind of dive into your thoughts and feelings?
Yeah.
Can you give us those thoughts and feelings in your best Keanu Reeves impression?
No, I don't want to dismay him. I don't want to do a disservice to Keanu. Nobody can be truly Keanu. Only he can. But he's just so full of like, he just seems to love life. He loves living, and sometimes you have these celebrities show up and talk about video games, and he's just like, whatever, if this is weird, let's just dive into the weirdness and let me tell you about this game. I think I was there in the crowd when he showed up and the breathtaking moment happened, and I think we won him over, gamers. I think we welcomed him on into our weird club, and it's cool to see him here. So freaking Keanu Reeves, man, holy cow.
It just feels like, when he's talking about this stuff, like his passion feels genuine. I feel like a lot of times when you have these celebrities or guest appearances, like you can see it in their eyes, like they don't care.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They're there for the paycheck, or they're there because they did something. I'll say this about both him and Nicolas Cage, who we just saw at Summer Games Fest. It seemed genuine. They seemed excited to be there. They seemed like, happy to be a part of the club. And again, like I think when this is done right, it just makes it more fun.
Feels good.
It's a good time.
Feels good, man.
Yeah. For sure. And, the gameplay for Phantom Liberty looks pretty good too. You've got Idris Elba in the story. You're going across the city. You're trying to figure out, a cure to a certain thing that's happening to the main character that I won't spoil because it's a spoiler for the main game. And it looks really cool. Like, I'm actually pretty excited to check this out because I actually really like Cyberpunk a lot. With all its problems at launch, I called it at the time like a game of the year caliber game, despite its problems. And honestly, I am very excited to play this DLC, especially, knowing how good everyone says The Witcher's DLC was, because I didn't play any of that stuff because, I didn't really get into The Witcher 3. But with the way people talk about The Witcher 3's DLC, like that gets me infinitely more excited for this because I really like Cyberpunk and I'm interested to see where they go with this DLC. And I hope it's awesome. Like, I can't wait for it, man. But
yeah, I genuinely go back and replay it. I played it when it initially came out, bugs and all, and I enjoyed the experience for what it was then. Ryan, as you were saying, apparently it's gotten a lot better since launch, and who knows, maybe this requires another playthrough to kind of get ready for what this DLC is going to be in August. Like, this looks cool.
Yeah. Sean, you gonna go back to Cyberpunk at all?
This is the point in the showcase where I started to get a little bit overwhelmed with the number of games. Because you guys have heard me talk about all these showcases and everything. I'm like, it looks cool. Like, sign me up. I'm totally in. And this is where I'm like, because maybe it's because I played the first few hours of Cyberpunk and was overtaken by other games where I was just distracted by something else. It had nothing to do with Cyberpunk itself, oddly enough. And so I have like a very real moment that I can think back to, not having enough time for this already, and now they're adding more to it. So it reminds me that this game looks cool. I hate that the game came out in the state that it did. And while I do like to see developers not give up on their games, I hate the state of video games in the way of just fix it later. Like, I'm so torn on that. Obviously, I want games to be great and I want games to end up really, really good. I just hate that these games are being released in a state the developers know and the publishers know how it is, and they ask people to pay money for it anyways. So I'm very, very torn on that. This is one of the most poignant examples of that in recent history and recent memory. So that part kind of tears me away from it a little bit, but maybe I just go back. Maybe I play it on PC. I wish it was coming to Game Pass. I wish there was an attachment to Game Pass on this, but it looks great.
Luckily, it goes on sale all the time, Sean, which is nice.
Yeah,
in fact,
that's
it's on sale
true.
right now. I saw that Il Babbins was pointing out that, hey, by the way, just so you know, there's a new bundle that includes the DLC, and it's like full price at $79, or you can just get the game on its own for $20 Canadian at this point.
Interesting. I would want to. I'm starting to lean on my PC a little bit more these days. Donnie Reese's and his influence is influencing me. It's rubbing off on me a little bit here. So, like, I have it on Xbox right now, but I think I'd rather play on PC. Right, Trevor?
I mean, it was the best way to play it at launch. So, but moving on, we got City Skylines 2 This was previously announced, but we finally got like a release date trailer for it. October 24th. It's coming to Game Pass day and date. It is a city building simulator like SimCity. And the first one was on Xbox and it was pretty good. If you're into this type of game, unfortunately, this is one of those things where I'm personally not into this type of thing. So this is kind of a pass for me, even though it is on Game Pass, especially knowing everything else that's coming out in October at this point. But I'm curious to know if anyone else here is actually excited for City Skylines 2. I see Matt. I'm not muting.
Man, it looks so good. There's just not enough time in the day. This is I think Locklith was saying this about one of the games after the showcase. Like 15-year-old me would be all over this. Give me a city. Give me and same with 2 Point Campus. Ryan, you and I played that a little bit last year. I'd love to have time for this. It looks really great, but it's probably a no. Did you say Game Pass? Did I miss that part?
It is Game Pass day.
Why not then? Dang it. Shoot. It looks complicated though. Now that I'm looking at it again, that does what is that color coding, Ryan? What was with that? What's going on here?
Yeah. All I know though is if you are into city building games, this is going to be your game. If you're waiting for a new SimCity to come out, because EA has given up on SimCity after the last SimCity game at this point, this is going to be your jam.
Yeah, no hate to the quality of the game looks awesome, just not for me.
Yeah.
Same. All right, next up, Matt. Though. You and I are going to get excited about this one.
Yes, we are.
Metaphor ReFantasio.
Oh my God.
2024. This comes to us from Atlas Studio Zero, which is actually, the second team as part of the Persona team over at Atlas. They are led by a lot of the creators of the older Persona games. And this looks awesome. This looks like Persona, but it's a new IP. Brand new but it's got the anime cutscenes that Persona has, but it has a different kind of look to it, where it looks more like a futuristic, cyberpunk kind of game or steampunk kind of game, I should say.
It's weird because it's futuristic, but also medieval. It's this kind of this weird fusion of all these different styles and timelines, and time periods. I think this looks awesome, Ryan. You and I were geeking out about this hard when we seen this. For me, give me this formula of turn-based gameplay with social links and everything, and I'm in. This just looks really cool. We were talking about the art style, and we were talking about the way that even the menus and stuff looks beautiful. I'm all in for a new take on this with such storied and developers who have such a history with this type of game. I can't wait for this, dude. This immediately shot up my list of most anticipated. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this.
Also with this game too, it looks like they're using a different engine as well. So I think this might be kind of in a way, kind of like Catherine, Matt, where it's kind of like the game to, get them used to this new series of consoles. So then when Persona 6 finally comes out, they can then utilize all those ideas and work them into Persona 6 and with what ideas work and which don't. But this shot up my charts, one of my most anticipated games for next year at this point. Because it looks awesome. Whereas
what showcase is this, Ryan? What was this a Nintendo showcase? I have a question for you, Ryan. Was this a Nintendo showcase?
No, it wasn't.
No. Was it a PlayStation showcase, Ryan? Was it PlayStation?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, this was an Xbox showcase. What is this?
What is
Xbox showcase? Atlas showing up, just crushing it. You guys are geeking out. It's amazing. We're getting all our weeb fuel, all of our just a lot of goodies here.
Weeb fuel.
Exclusive to Xbox and Windows.
We don't know that yet.
No, we don't know that yet.
We don't know that. Any of the Persona stuff.
Why wouldn't they show the logos? This is very confusing.
That's not how that works. All that is embargoed till tomorrow. Because actually, one of the Atlas PR reps took to Twitter about an hour ago and was like, "Hey, by the way, just so you know, these games are probably coming. These games are coming to platforms too, but we can't talk about them right now because that information is embargoed till tomorrow."
Yeah, and Persona 3 Reload already leaked with the box art for PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. So I would be shocked if this game specifically stays. If it does, awesome. That's all the more for Xbox. But yeah, some of these definitely are coming elsewhere.
The important thing to note about this game in particular that is different about the other Persona games, in that trailer, it does not have Xbox One listed. So I think this is current gen only. So Series X, PlayStation 5 is what I'm assuming, and PC.
To your point about next gen, okay, so let me walk back that exclusivity, maybe just tentative on the exclusivity. Still, super hardcore weebiness at an Xbox show. That's pretty awesome. Like that's not what we typically would have seen. And there's more than, it wasn't like a token thing either, by the way. It wasn't like, here's your one to keep you weebs happy. It was like one of many. So very cool. And we didn't know about it before. A surprise, a delight for those of us who enjoy this sort of thing.
And even still, even like let's take the exclusivity off the table here. For them to be showing at like you mentioned,
that's what I'm trying to say.
Much,
that's me walking it back.
Like,
yeah, totally.
Yeah, like it's awesome to see. It's awesome that people who like to play on Xbox or who only play on Xbox are still going to get the opportunity to check out fantastic looking games. So like again, just help the show pop even more. This was awesome.
Just like when people show up here, they get to see fantastic looking people like you, Matt.
Like Sean.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Like Sean.
And Matt and Ryan. Yeah. We're all here.
We're all here, you guys.
I just
We eat yogurt.
fuse into one person.
Good God. All right. Speaking of RPGs, we got another RPG, an action RPG called Towerborn. This comes out 2024. This comes to us from Stoic. It's a second party release because it's from the makers of the Banner Saga 1 and 2. But it's not a turn-based game like those are. This is an action RPG. But they're partnering with Microsoft First Party to publish this game. And there's actually a whole blog post on the Xbox Wire about it, which I actually have in another window, which is really interesting. So, this game looks interesting. There wasn't like, we didn't really see like a lot of the gameplay, like what the gameplay kind of looked like. But there's actually, I'm looking at the blog post right now, and there's a couple in-game screenshots of what the game looks like. And it looks kind of like very different from what we see kind of in the trailers here, where you're almost like in these arenas and you've got your character kind of battling around in them. Is what this game kind of looks like from the screenshots. It actually almost reminds me of a game that came out on the PlayStation 4 called Grand Fantasy, which was like which was also an Atlas game back in the day, which I really liked, but it was like a turn-based version, but looks very similar to this. It's tough to know too much about this game, but I mean, I'm excited to play it. It's on Game Pass, and it's, Microsoft must have seen the potential with this one if they're, partnering with them to publish this one. But what'd you all think about this one, starting with Matt?
I'm kind of whelmed by this one. I think it looks visually very interesting. I like the art style. I like how bright and colorful it looks. The pieces of gameplay that we got, I think I need to see kind of like, a start to finish mission. I need to see what this actually plays like. I'll be coming to Game Pass. I think is great because this almost looks like, Mario 3D World, but hack and slash kind of thing. And if they can kind of land that formula or that fusion, I think it could be really good. But I wasn't like wowed by what I saw, nor was I disappointed. I'm kind of just in the wait and see more camp. Like I said, with Game Pass, I'll probably check it out. But I thought this looked okay.
Yeah, Sean.
Well, this one, and it actually reminded me of the Shin Megami Tensei looking game previously, that some of these I almost want more of a breakdown. Obviously, we've got a lot of games to cover here today, but as we're watching for audio listeners, we're presenting the trailers once again as we're here at youtube.com/carpoolgaming, and there's a lot there to unpack, honestly. A co-op adventure was that last game. So what is that like? And I think for me, that was a plus because for some of those games, I think I might need a little help. I might need a bit of a Sherpa on that. An ever-changing world, like what exactly does that mean? So I think there's more there than maybe what immediately meets the eye. There's probably a little bit more complexity that they're trying to showcase within whatever that was, 45 seconds or so. So I'd like to break that down a little bit more. I'd love to learn more and see what that gameplay is like. Game Pass allows us to do that, of course. So yeah, I thought it captured me, and it was another game that I didn't know about before that kept me from lulling. I wasn't checking my phone, and it wasn't out of some sort of weird discipline of not looking at my phone. I just genuinely wasn't. I was genuinely engaged for the vast majority of this showcase. And this game, that's one of the things I'll throw a bone to this game for. Yeah.
And actually, I think, and I read it off earlier, but I think this is on the list of the games that they're showing at that showcase this week. Like the showcase extended on Tuesday. So we'll get to learn more there. And I think maybe that's when we'll get a little more excited about this one. But next up, the second last game of the showcase, Clockwork Revolution. This is the new In Exile game. It's a first-person RPG, at least we're assuming it's an RPG, because that's just the games they make. It is quote-unquote coming in due time. This is kind of like a steampunk-inspired a game that just pretty much, Court nailed it when we watched it. It just looks like BioShock in all the right ways, I think. I think this game looks awesome. And I can't wait to learn more. And also, I'm seeing a lot of people say that this was kind of like their highlight of the show. But what did you think about this one, Matt?
Yeah, I think this looks great. Very much. I think Sean kind of nailed it when we were watching it live. This kind of feels like Dishonored in a way, kind of fused with BioShock Infinite, like visually very, very interesting. There's like a time manipulation mechanic to it that seems like it's going to be pretty cool. They kept kind of like flipping between different aspects of the same environment. I would kind of assume that your decisions or things that you do along the way would kind of, modify what happens. But I think this was a really pleasant surprise. I'm very, very excited to play this when it eventually hits, because I think it's was pretty awesome. Again, one of the highlights for me too. I thought this looked cool.
Yeah, looks pretty sweet. Sean?
Yeah, as soon as it starts to show this game in a first-person shooter type of perspective, I definitely caught my eye because In Exile does Wasteland. It does top-down isometric RPGs, like you kind of seen it. And I'm really glad to see maybe this is an infusion of budget and dollars from Microsoft into In Exile. They can dream bigger. And I'd love to see that maybe before and after the glow-ups that all of these studios can go through. This game just looks like it is very imaginative and cool-looking weapons. I'm very curious on the time mechanic on this. Mm-hmm. The flip back and forth between things are daylight and great, and then disastrous and destroyed the next second, just flipping back and forth. So what exactly is that? I'm obviously in due time we'll learn more about this one, but it's caught my eye for now. So very, very cool. But I want to know more, Ryan Turford.
Maybe it's a lot like the hit game Singularity that came out on the Xbox 360, Sean, where you in order to get through a door that the barrel is blocking, you rewind time on the barrel to then have it be removed from the door. And then maybe that's how the time powers work.
Yeah.
Who knows with this game. But yeah, I'm excited to learn more. And I love the idea of them being able to spread their wings and just do different stuff. Like I love when it's being able to see some of these studios that Microsoft acquired not having to stick with one thing. Like it's good that Obsidian was able to build their own like Elder Scrolls style game. Just like I love that In Exile is allowed to do something very different from what they're known for as well. Like having that flexibility there, I think is going to pay dividends in the future for a lot of these studios, which is just
big
awesome
time
to see.
Mm-hmm. Donnie Reese in the chat said this is a good way to introduce a new game, which I completely agree.
Yep.
There's been a lot of commentary on that on the internet of like what you should show us during these sorts of things. I think this is a good blend. It's not a logo. It's not a JPEG reveal. It gives us a sense of the theme and the tonalities to these games and what it kind of looks like. So I'm good with it. I'm good with cinematic reveals like that.
Yeah, but I think this actually balanced both cinematic and gameplay. Like it looks like we saw pieces of the way that this game could play. It left us with enough to understand what the game is, with enough questions to want to see it again. I'm with you, dude. I think this was a great way to unveil something.
Mm-hmm. For sure. All right, before we get to Starfield, we got a hardware reveal, you guys. Xbox Series S, 1 terabyte black console, $349. Thank the maker, they finally have a Series S with more than a 300 gigabyte hard drive, because this was a long time coming. I think this is actually going to be like a great value proposition this holiday season, this console in particular. And, I'm glad there's variety in Series S land out there. Mm-hmm. Just getting more people into the brand, I think this is going to do wonders for that kind of thing. Trucker Sloth already in the chat says I'm upgrading my Series S. Look at that. There you go. All right. Let's get to the final thing in the showcase. The Starfield Direct. This was the one more thing. I had joked, Sean, during our prediction showcase that Starfield would be the one more thing leading into the Starfield, Direct. I just wish that wasn't true, because I wish there was something else here. But it was Starfield, and oh my God, the Starfield Direct, I think, to quote you earlier, Sean, it seemed overwhelming, because they showed so much stuff with this game. But in a way, I'm actually glad that they presented this game the way they did, and they did this kind of deep dive, because if any game kind of needed this deep dive into the game, the way it plays and its mechanics and everything you're going to do in this game, Starfield seems like that game. And they even kind of said it during the showcase. There's so much more to this game that we haven't even showed you guys yet. So this game sounds absolutely massive. And I've got some bullet point things that we'll touch on in a second, but I want your guys overall thoughts on just Starfield's showing in general at this showcase. We'll start with Matt on this one.
Yeah, no, I thought it looked great. It won me over much more than I think what we had seen before. I think the gunplay looks great. I think we kind of said that, it's almost like a very Apple-like presentation, very clean, very crisp. It looks interesting. What I will say though, before we kind of get into the entirety of Starfield, I do think this as a replacement for a One More Thing did kind of take the air out of the room right at the last second. I have no issue with this being following the showcase, this kind of playing into it. But I think especially given the hype of the season and everything else, like the One More Thing is almost like a very sacred part of what the showcase is, regardless of whether they stick the landing with it or not. The excitement of that potential is something that we don't really get elsewhere. So for them to sidestep the One More Thing and then step right into the Starfield Direct, I think was a missed opportunity. Even if they took Clockwork, whatever, and they put that as their One More Thing. But again, just the framing of it, I feel like was a little weird and kind of was a bit of a misstep going into Starfield rather than just kind of being like, the Starfield looks awesome. And again, like I felt that thought fade the more I saw of Starfield, because admittedly, again, it was a great showing. I liked what we saw. It was a lot. We got a lot of nitty gritty there, which was fantastic to see. But I do wish that the presentation of it overall, coming from the showcase into this, was handled differently, I'll say.
Mm-hmm. Sean?
You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, in a way, right? Like if I was gonna ask you, Matt, like if it's not like they would be able to introduce something new to make a different one lasting. They'd have to take kind of what is already in the hopper and reshuffle it around. So what would you put? I think Clockwork maybe is that thing. And I'm curious if it's because that game is so far out that they don't want to make it the One More Thing. The last One More Thing that we got was Redfall, a couple of years ago, like the more notable one. So I don't know.
But I mean, like, even like if you were to, because I do think that the showcase as a whole started out very strong. Even if like Ryan had mentioned, to make Fable the One More Thing to kind of go out, because I don't think that would have taken away from the beginning of it. Honestly, I just feel like, again,
I think it would have. I think it would. I think that start was really, really strong. And honestly, now that it's done, I'm going to say in the moment it did feel like the One More Thing Starfield. Like I think we all felt that. Now that it's done, I don't know if it really changes much for me, that they didn't really do that. And it also gives Todd Howard his like time. He's a very he's a legend, and this game is a huge deal for Xbox. I think that we kind of have to keep that in mind when commenting on these things. Like people have said, what is the last, since Redfall came out, if Starfield doesn't stick the landing, Xbox is dead. Right? Like there is no bigger game to Xbox than this right now. So I guess it kind of makes sense in that way that it's the One More Thing. It just doesn't have the wallop to the face of Hexen or Quake Remake or something else. Like anything else that would have been better, I think, in our minds is something we've all made up in our heads that exists. Yeah.
And Donnie Reese puts it eloquently in the chat by saying, I think we put too much importance into these criterias. And that makes perfect sense. I kind of am glad, like, maybe don't have a One More Thing every time, because it's so trite and cliche, that they're saving it for like that thing. I don't know. Doesn't have to be there every time. Although I will say, just because I said this on stream too, but I'll say it. My heart sank when I saw the Hexen t-shirt that Phil Spencer was wearing, and it wasn't Hexen. And then nothing. And we saw nothing from id Software here. Because that was one of the companies I was looking forward to the most seeing here, because it's been a long time since Doom Eternal. And I was hoping whether it was Quake or Hexen or whatever, like, especially with the t-shirt, I'm just like, oh my God, we're going to finally see id's new game, and not seeing it kind of, made me, feel a little bit sad. But you got the t-shirt. You got he doesn't just wear that shirt. Like, he doesn't just wear that shirt for no reason. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that indicates to me that that's an announced game. It's like he might as well be doing the showcase from his desk with the shelf behind him, showing you a bunch of like Easter egg kind of things. And on that note, like, I know we're kind of like breaking in between like the show proper and the Starfield Direct. They did have people. I did ask for like more personality, but like, I want to go like one step further. I would have loved to see crowd reactions. I know that people were watching this at FanFest. I would have loved for that to be built into this. Even if it was just them reacting to the same thing that we saw, that would have been really, really fun and interesting. But it's so PR and scripted and stuff. So it's like a half step better than
hit play on an MP4 of a bunch of trailers going off. So that's just me on the overall presentation.
For sure. And like Phil's overall wrap up at the end was great. Like I loved getting
well done too. Because Court was saying, like, as we were watching, he's like, oh yeah, the Star Wars game. And I think we all had like, oh yeah, that one. That is, I think if we're talking about how effectively these showcases are communicating and getting people hyped up about stuff, people forget it's 2 hours of like trying to capture your attention. And I was mentioning on the stream, that's a Steve Jobs thing. I'm going to tell you what I'm about to tell you, then I'm going to tell you the thing, then I'm going to wrap up with telling you about what I just told you. Like, I think it's very effective, even if it is formulaic. I think that's okay. And I thought they did a great job of that as well.
Yeah. Also, by the way, I didn't mention earlier, but shout out to Sarah Bond for also being on the stream as well. It was good to see both her and Phil on the stream today. But, all right, let's talk about Starfield. We're not going to go into every single thing that they showed, but I've got, some bullet points about some of the things that they talked about, such as they talked about the overall style of Starfield kind of trying to be this NASA punk kind of style is a term they actually used a lot during the showcase, where it's tried to be like realistic kind of science, like not like NASA like inspired spaceships, but with like a stylish kind of punk like kind of setting for a lot of this stuff. Like that's supposed to inspire a lot of the style throughout the game. They also talked about the fact that there are so many planets. Like they showed the galaxy map, and there's just so many planets in this gosh darn game. You're also folding space when you travel between different planets, just like Event Horizon. The movie Event Horizon, where the Event Horizon was a ship that folded space in half using a black hole generator, which caused the ship to go to hell. Spoilers for Event Horizon, by the way. That movie's really good. They're absolutely huge cities. The first, the shitty, oh my God, I swore. The city that they showed was New Atlantis, was like the city that they focused on during the Starfield Direct, and they said it's the biggest city in any Bethesda game. So not just this game, but any game in general. And it looked really cool. They also confirmed little bits about the story as well. Like you find this like alien artifact, because the idea is they're trying to find, like, even though they found alien creatures, they haven't really found like intelligent alien life, like intelligent alien humanoids at all. So maybe this is kind of like a first contact story. And it was felt like I mentioned I heard you mention that on stream, Sean.
Could be.
That's kind of what it felt like. Or kind of reminded me of like the plot of Mass Effect in a lot of ways. Like I was getting a lot of Mass
Contact
Effect
War.
vibes.
Yeah. Maybe it has something to do with the folding of space. Maybe there's the space and time, man. The fabric of space and time. Can I just jump in here to say, Ryan?
Yeah.
Totally geeking out about space and science and science fiction and the blending of the two. Even to the fact that they show us these various solar systems and the sun has this gravitational pull on the fabric of space. And I just loved every detail here. I had my arms crossed since I saw it the last time. The first they showed us gameplay and it looked like No Man's Sky. The very first thing they showed us to Starfield was them lasering a rock, and I just couldn't believe that's what they chose. Yep. So much better. There's so much here. I am elated. I gotta book time off of work. I've got to make some time, and I'm so excited. I thought they did a great job with this direct. This extended look at it is exactly what it needed. There's so much to show and tell here.
Yeah. Well, we also, speaking of that, we also got shipbuilding, which they went into detail about that. We knew you could customize your own ship, but the amount of detail that they showed you could go into with designing your own ship and making it yours, was really interesting. Like they showed off the dude who built a mech, and it were like the platypus, the platypus ship that had little legs.
That woman, the producer, I forgot her name, but she was one of the highlights of this entire direct for me, talking about how, she would design her ships after animals, and then we saw the platypus, and then when she was doing piracy and just stealing sandwiches from everyone, what a great
the pile of sandwiches on the table, Matt.
Incredible, cool incredible. I think this showed the game really well, and I wanted to say too that I feel like this game looks gorgeous, and I kind of mentioned it when we talked about it on stream. It doesn't look expressly like a Bethesda game, and I mean that in a good way, because I feel like this looks next gen. This looks like a huge step forward for them as a team in terms of the graphics, and I think this looked beautiful. You can very much still see the Bethesda DNA, but man, the presentation was on point.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Because one of the things I want to touch on real quick as well that I have noted here is the combat looks way better in this game as well. If you want to talk about improvements from this showing of Starfield to the last one, The combat was definitely the biggest one. It looked fast. It looked fluid. I loved the different, the way they showed how the different skills really changed the gameplay. Like, you could focus on your jetpack and, getting, jetpack abilities or all the stealth abilities you can get, or like they showed just how diverse the gameplay is really going to be, which got me very excited as someone who was very much gameplay focused. When it comes to my enjoyment of games, like I love the way that this game plays. Like it looks really fun just to play this game. Also the exploration as well, Sean, which I know got you pretty excited. Just exploring the different planets, seeing looking up in the night sky and seeing like the planet with the rings up there. If there's like a ringed planet in range and stuff like that, like all that stuff is super cool, man.
Environmentally, I just think it's so diverse and gorgeous and exactly what you would expect out of space. Definitely still a few, maybe one too many throwbacks to No Man's Sky with maybe some of the creature design, some of the planet design, but still like what a rocky asteroid would look like or a moon of a ringed planet up in the sky. They even geeked out enough to say there's some sort of real-time illumination system that depending on the atmospheric makeup of the planet and the type of star, it changes the lighting and the coloring and the fog and all this stuff. Dude, you're speaking my language with this kind of stuff. And I'm just sitting here, Ryan, I'm just sitting kind of patiently and quietly until it's like my turn to geek out again, because
of course,
this just looks like somebody who loves space made this game. And it's obviously a few hundred people, but it's just this geek out about space. And that's what I'm picking up on mostly. There's a lot of different systems and things we could dive into specifically, but it's, this adoration of the exploration of space and what the possibilities of man and engineering and humanity and what it means to be human and that experience. I might be stretching a little bit. Maybe people are listening to this going like, calm down, it's a video game. But that's why I like space so much. Yeah. These star systems are so far away, and it pisses me off that they're so far away. Why can't we just fold space in a sheet of paper and go to the other side? This game allows us to do that while still having cowboy duels, apparently, Ryan. Like
I did make a note of that. There is cowboy dueling in this game as well.
Yes. So it looks enormous. It's got to be about 700 gigabytes, this game, I'm sure. Yeah. But I'll pause now. I'll take a breath a little bit before I fall over here.
Because also space battles look really awesome in this thing too. Like if you want a game that has good space battles, this looks like it's gonna do the trick. You also can dock with enemy ships instead of destroying them. Mm-hmm. You can actually like disable their ship, and then you board the enemy ships, and then you can steal the ships, and then you have like a garage of ships that you have access to if you want to then use them there, or you can salvage them for parts to put those parts on your normal spaceship. Like there's just so many layers to the gameplay, whether it's the ship combat, the combat in, on the boots on the ground, to the exploration, like to the conversation elements that they showed off. Like there are just so many layers to the Starfield onion. Because onions have layers, Sean.
One of the things I was walking away from the presentation was I kind of wish they did lean into the story more, what is happening in the galaxy. But then as I'm talking about this, I'm realizing that like I could spend 60 hours and not touch the story at all, as I'm doing with Diablo 4 at the moment. I'm level 44 or something, and I'm in Act 2. So maybe it doesn't matter as much as I think. I just want to go explore the cosmos with everybody.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it really just probably seems like you can engage with the story or as much or as little as you really want to. Mm-hmm. They also teased at the end, Sean, that there might be force powers of some kind. Some kind of weird powers, like psychic powers and stuff. But they didn't really go into detail about that. As also, they went into detail about the fact you can scan planets and learn like the elemental composition of all the planets and really geek out about that if you geek out about space, like a certain someone I know. But,
yep.
Yeah.
Show me the colors. Let me look at it through a telescope, and I can see like the different the prisms of the spectrums of color. Oh my gosh, you guys, give it to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
So those were all my notes as far as the game itself. We have some stuff about hardware that we'll touch on in a second. But overall thoughts, I heard a lot from Sean here, but Matt, I want to hear more of your thoughts. What did you think about all the stuff we kind of went over, and just any other thoughts you had about Starfield, the game itself, before we talk about hardware?
No, as I mentioned, like I think the game looks fantastic. I think this was easily the best showing of it so far. And like I'm genuinely excited to hop in and check it out now. I think visually it looks beautiful. The just openness of this entire game looks just absolutely wild as to how much you can see or how much you can do. And like similarly, it was that No Man's Sky moment when they zoomed out of that initial cluster of planets and just how much more there was out there. I can't wait. Like, we're on the character creator now. I cannot wait to see the monstrosities that are going to come out of that thing online, because you better believe people are going to make them. I just think that this looks like what could be like their biggest and possibly best game so far. Like, this looks like this is confidence in every moment, I think, that we've seen here, from the space battles to, like, they mentioned, like, you know, being able to target specific parts of ships so you can disable them instead of blowing them up. Like, this felt confident all the way through. The incredible diversity of developers that we've seen that are making this game, the care and the love that's so evident here. I think this was an incredibly strong showing, and like I really liked what I saw, and I'm excited to, like, I don't need to see any more at this point. Like, I'm sold on everything that this game is. Sean, that you mentioned, like, I'm glad we didn't see much of the story, because I just still think we're very good going to get a lot of that Bethesda DNA of tackling things in different ways, or seeing possibly different routes on how you can take things, or, you know, the player choice that will probably be baked in here. I'm in, dude. Like, this, I was very much nervous about Starfield, just because of, again, like Sean kind of mentioned, the weight that it does inherently carry. There is a lot riding on this game, and this felt like them coming out and being like, nah, this game is going to be great. Like, here's a reason why. Like, here's everything that you can do, and we haven't even touched it. And again, if we get force powers, if we get some sort of ridiculousness coming out of the back half of it, I'm entirely in. Like, this game showed, I think, incredibly well, and I think this was a very strong finish to what Xbox, you know, kind of came out to show.
Mm-hmm. Sean, last chance to geek out about the game before we get into Starfield hardware.
Confidence, competence. This is this being as an important game as it is. I think it holds up. There's to Matt's point about confidence, the extended looks at a variety of different, very deep dives into the systems here and the way the combat works, I think shows that there's nothing to hide. They really, like, opened the doors completely open. It's not like they showed us a split second of gunplay and that was it. They even went into all the different styles that people could play. There's the stealthy style that, Ryan, I'm sure you would jump into. There's the throw grenades and jetpack around style that I'm sure I'll be jumping into. And I think that is a canvas for storytelling. And that's what has got the internet excited about so many games in the past that I won't throw out to compare. But I think that that's really what is important here. So kudos to Xbox for delaying this. Obviously needed it. Obviously wasn't a popular decision at the time. I think it will hopefully pay off in dividends. This might be a Sonic the Hedgehog moment, where they showed us the first time, like, maybe not, and change it up. And hopefully we get a really good game out of this. I'm not seeing nearly as much, Matt, to your point, of the Bethesda jank here. I think that it looks clean. It looks like it actually, maybe it will work. Who knows? We'll see. But I have a lot of confidence, and confidence that I didn't have in this game going into it. So, I'm very, very excited to play this, and worried about my time and my family and nutrition and other kind of life needs that I have that will definitely just get in the way of this and enjoying it even more.
Yeah, like, I think that after seeing this showcase, if this ends up being the game that we saw today and coming recently releasing and, you know, being bug free and, you know, being a fantastic experience, like, I think this is an easy contender probably for Game of the Year.
I was just going to ask you that. Yeah, like, I know it's obviously too early to tell. We haven't played it, but it looks so strong that maybe it could be in contention. Finally, maybe again, this is finally Xbox has a contender that we're even thinking in that way. It's so
especially
big.
in a year like this year in particular, when you really think about the crazy releases this year, like having the
Sorry, go ahead.
No,
I was gonna say, like, across all, like, the big three, like, we'll have, I think, serious contenders across the entire gaming space. Like, Game of the Year this year, I feel like last year when we did our Game of the Year show, there was a lot of commonality across what we spoke to. I feel like this year will have some pretty diverse lists and some very interesting stuff when we comes up between Tears in the Kingdom, between what I'm assuming this and Spider-Man 2 are going to be like. This is a fantastic year for gaming as a whole. Like, my God, I can't remember the last time it was this good across the board.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it could be up there with that giant list of growing games that are 90s plus on Metacritic that we've gotten this year. And we're just very spoiled as gamers. Well, speaking of Starfield hardware, we got to talk about quickly about the hardware they announced. So number one, we've got that Starfield controller, Sean, and the Starfield custom headset, which of course leaked ahead of time because they just showed up in stores one day. Those are available June 14th, so later this week. And they all look pretty dang cool. That controller, by the way, looks really awesome.
Gorgeous.
They did something they haven't done with the Xbox controllers before, having the clear triggers, so you can actually see inside the little gears. That's very much like a '90s Game Boy kind of aesthetic. So I love kind of seeing that on a modern controller.
Bring it to Design Labs. Bring those clear triggers to Design Labs.
Yeah, that headset also looks really good too. But I'm less excited about a headset being color coded and stuff because you wear it on your head and no one's really seeing you wear it usually. But then they also showed off the collector's edition stuff, Sean. The Constellation edition comes with a watch. We didn't know it was going to come with a watch, but it comes with a fully functional watch that pairs with your phone and kind of works the way like an Apple Watch does.
Wait a second. Can you explain this further? An edition of the game comes with the watch for $299?
Yeah, that's the Constellation edition.
I thought it was $299 just for the watch.
No, it's $299 with the game as well as other things in the box.
I'm also just realizing that they did this with Fallout 4, was it? With the Vault Boy attachment?
Yeah,
like you could actually wear on your the Pip Boy.
The Pip Boy.
Of course. Okay, so that makes it way better. Give me that.
Yeah. So for the collector's edition, you get the game, the expansion that will be coming later, 5 days early access, a bunch of skins, a steelbook display case, a Constellation patch, and the watch.
Oh my god! Yes, sign me. Are you kidding me, dude?
$299
Sign
USD.
me up. Oh, I thought it was $299 for the watch, and I was still considering it.
No.
Holy crap!
Although the downside for us in Canada is currently it's only available at the Bethesda shop, and the Bethesda shop only ships to the United States.
That's okay. We know people in the U.S. We can figure something out.
Oh, there's that too.
Yeah, we'll set up a carpool PO box maybe.
Oh my god, yes.
But
car
Matt,
PO
you also
box.
brought up something subtly in there. So all of the versions, all of the premium versions of the game also come with 5 days early access to Starfield. So you get the game on September 1st instead of September 6th. There's also an upgrade path on Game Pass where you can actually upgrade to the premium edition, where just kind of like the bite back edition that we had for Redfall, where you actually get like a steelbook copy of the game in the mail if you get like the physical upgrade path that doesn't actually have the game in it, because you basically just get the game on Game Pass. And it's $35, as Donnie points out, so it's very cheap, where you're basically just paying for the expansion itself and the 5 days early access. Or you can actually get like the full game with the premium edition as well, so they're selling that separately as well. So bunch of different editions, kind of like word soup. There's going to be probably a chart that is floating around the internet somewhere as to like what comes in all the different variations of
I'll take a chart.
Starfield.
I'm good with the chart. All good. Give me a table, pie charts, whatever you want.
Yeah, there it is, Sean.
Here it is, the
go.
Constellation
There you go.
Edition. Oh my goodness gracious.
It comes in that case too. That
The steelbook. Why? I must have missed this. 5 days early. What is the Shadow Space, a first story expansion? Looks like some Pogs come along with it too. No, it's a soundtrack.
Some
Pin.
Pogs.
Give me some Starfield Pogs.
It's a
Dude.
patch.
A slimer and everything.
Yeah, but
Cool.
There you go. So that's
Cool.
everything that is all the extra hardware you got from Starfield. And overall, let's time to get overall thoughts on the showcase now as we kind of round out this conversation. We'll go around the horn and say like how we thought about the showcase overall. Because honestly, you guys, this might have been one of the best Xbox showcase ever that I've ever seen in the history of Xbox. And I know we kind of see that a lot of years, and yes, like when that happens, a lot of the games don't really come out. But I felt like the games that they knew were coming out soon, they gave us release windows for them. So we kind of have an idea as to when a lot of this stuff's coming out. And I like that they kept it vague for the games that it sounds like we're not getting into them soon. But at least we got good looks at everything here. Like there weren't really any dull moments during the showcase other than, a couple things that just didn't really appeal to us. But you know what? We talked about this during Summer Game Fest. Like not every game is going to appeal to us, like us, and that's okay.
Yep.
That still is not a mark of a bad showcase. Like I feel like it was well paced. There were exciting games. There was really exciting reveals. There were exciting reveals that we didn't expect, like Atlas having an unannounced game that they didn't leak. Having something like that here as an example was huge, and it was good just to see the first party back. So I really felt like after this showcase, like I really feel like Xbox is back after something like this. And this showcase really just helped instill the confidence in me as to why I continue to play games on Xbox and why I continue to have it be kind of my primary ecosystem. But I want to hear from you guys. We'll start actually with the PlayStation Master, PlayStation Drive Master, Matt Sowinski. Matt, what do you think?
Oh, me? Oh, okay. I thought they crushed it. I thought this was easily the highlight of this entire time of year so far. And similarly, Ryan, I think this is one of the best presentations they've ever done, full stop. Even like you mentioned, the parts that weren't for us was not because the games look weird or look bad or look like they don't belong to be, like they don't belong there. They're just not games for us. And even then, I think they were very cognizant of a lot of this because it was... Here, it didn't overstay its welcome at any point. The pacing was on. The length felt great, including like the Starfield stuff. I thought it was awesome. There was a bunch of good surprises in there, and I have to say, like, especially like you mentioned, for you and I, who had some of the biggest surprises / stuff that we were looking forward to leaked days ahead, there was still a bunch here that got us really excited and was like really, really into. So for me, this was them coming back out after what's been, I would say a rough couple years, and not to say that, you know, there hasn't been quality on Xbox, and not to say that there hasn't been a lot of games that, you know, warrant you playing there, but this was them being like, here is first party, here is why what you're excited about, here is them still backing up Game Pass to no end and getting some fantastic, like massive gets for Game Pass on top of that. This was them being like, okay, here's what's upcoming. There's a couple more in the hopper for you this year. Here's what you can get stoked about next year. And here's what the future will bring. I think that this was just a fantastically paced showcase. I thought there was literally something here for everyone. And I think that's hard to do. So I thought this was, again, the easy highlight of our, you know, Summer Game Fest, Christmas, Hanukkah edition of video games this year. I thought this was and could very well be the standout showcase.
Yeah. Sean?
Amazing. Really, really good. I was entertained the entire time. I continue to be surprised by new games that capture me immediately. I don't know if I just am getting better sleep these days, but that has not always been a thing for me. They showed 27 games, I think, if I'm counting these squares up on the screen correctly. Ryan Turford, you were closest. You guessed that they were going to show 30 in our predictions episode, but unfortunately it's Price is Right rule, so it's closest without going over, and you were 3 over, my friend. Very close.
It doesn't matter because none of us got it right then at that point.
That's true. Seth said 42. I said 43. We're way off, but I think that helped things. As you mentioned, I think it was paced well. Nothing really lingered on too long. And yeah, 2 things I want to say. Number one, Game Pass, it continues to have value. And I think that has been in question lately. And maybe to a certain extent, if there was any doubt that Xbox was still in and committed and dedicated to Xbox as an ecosystem and bringing games to that ecosystem, hopefully this has quieted that down maybe a little bit. One criticism that I would have, and I mentioned at the beginning that I continue here, is we just don't have too many dates. So there is a lot of vague future about this, and I can already hear it. We're talking about 2024. Looks like an amazing year for Xbox. I'd love to, Ryan, on the Xbox Drive over the next couple of weeks, recontextualize that 2023 is still a good year for Xbox. Yeah. You know, I think that's an important part of the conversation. But indeed, in addition to this year being a great time for us to play video games on our Xbox Series S and X, the 2024 looks pretty bright as well with all of these different games. So yeah, well done team. I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, I mean, as long as, and I know Johnny mentions in the chat as well that, you know, as long as all these games come out, they kind of have to land first before we know whether or not, you know, this was a good showcase. But at the same time, I look at something like this and be like, if all these games do actually land and are fantastic, like, hats off to Microsoft. Like, this was a slam dunk for them. Like, I think they did an incredible job. And more than anything, what this showcase really done is it just got us excited about Xbox again. Yep. And that's something that we haven't really been able to say, Sean, over the last couple weeks of Xbox. You know, ever since, you know, Redfall and all that everything else that's kind of transpired with Xbox. Like, you know, like Xbox really kind of, I think, needed a win. And I feel like this showcase, I'm pretty confident to say that this was the win I think they needed.
Yep, big time. Can't wait to see more at Ubisoft and Capcom, which will get extended looks. Both of those showcases have extended looks at games we saw earlier today. So video game holiday season continues. There's Annapurna at the very end of the month as well. So we're keeping on here.
Thursday.
Yeah, man. Oh, nice. Yep. Yes, that's right.
Do not forget about RGG or Matt will be upset.
Yeah, sorry about that. Holy cow.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez.
All right. So before we sign off for the day, Sean, there's one last thing we need to do.
We need to give away.
We need to give away the final code.
Yes. Thank you to our friends at Xbox Canada. We have a code, 12 months of Game Pass. So that'll get you through a bunch of this stuff. Get you Starfield at the very least. Get you Forza Motorsport.
Forza.
Lots of stuff here. So we're going to give it away. And if you're listening to this on audio, sorry we miss you here live at youtube.com/carpoolgaming. But for those of you who are here live, thank you so much. We have been streaming for 4 hours and 20 minutes. 420.
420.
Matt Sowinski. We are at the 420. We're about to blaze it up thanks to Xbox Canada, who will never let us do this again. We're going to give away.
Why are you doing this to us, Sean?
I can't believe they help us out with this stuff. We're pulling a winner thanks to Nightbot. And the final code, we've given away 5 codes for 1 year of Xbox Game Pass. And the winner is Locklith. We're going to have to do that again, Locklith.
We're going to do this again. Sorry, but the power of the Carpool Gaming crew is too strong to receive a code.
That's so funny. Okay, the next one is Boots, who actually won a little bit earlier, so I'm glad this is making it to
again.
We're doing it one more time. Third time is a charm. One more. Let's do this. The winner is Yarden. Congratulations to Yarden, longtime listener, longtime supporter, one of the pillars in our community. Thank you, Yarden. Thank you, Xbox Canada. What a wonderful celebration of video games, Ryan Turford. I've had so much fun. We're going to continue on. This is great. Good times. Enjoy, Yarden.
This was an absolutely perfect.
Yes.
Perfect scenario.
Yes, so really reach out to me, Yarden, on Twitter and or Discord, and we'll be giving out those codes. 5 codes. Thank you again to Xbox Canada. Enjoy the Game Pass, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, there was lots of great games that they showed off today for Game Pass. So lots of, as one might say, Xbox Game Pass, the best value in gaming. If we were on Twitch right now, Sean, watching this thing, people would be spamming that,
That's right.
Xbox Game Pass is the greatest value in gaming. But I think that's going to do it for this special episode of the Xbox Drive. We've been recording for 2 hours now, so it's probably time to close out the show. But before we go, first off, thank you, Matt Sowinski, for joining us on the show, coming on the car with us. And where can people find you on the internet, my friend?
You can find me, obviously, over on the PlayStation Drive on all things Carpool Gaming. Hang out with me on Twitter at Matt_SilverSoul. And I just want to quickly shout out, tomorrow is still a big day. We got Ubisoft at 1 p.m. We'll be live reacting to that. We got Capcom at 6, and then a very special edition of the PlayStation Drive featuring one Sean Capri at 8 p.m. EST tomorrow. So come hang out with us. We'll be all over Twitch for Ubisoft, and then I guess we'll be back to YouTube for Capcom and
YouTube
Drive.
back for YouTube for Capcom.
Yep.
Yeah.
So come hang out with us tomorrow. There's still plenty more to come.
Nice. And Sean, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. You can buy all of our merch at carpoolgaming.com. I'm not always there, but stuff that I wear is there, so I guess it's a connection.
We launched a new shirt today. We talked about it earlier, the pants shirt.
You're right, the pants shirt. Get your pants shirt. Is it limited edition or that's running forever? You can get it forever, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a show shirt. I imagine it's forever.
But you're going to want to get it today. Patreon.com/carpoolgaming. You can hear me and so many others doing exclusive content over there. And twitch.tv/carpoolgaming live. I've been streaming a ton of Diablo, playing with you, the community, ignoring the story altogether, leveling up my Druish prince. And I think that is it for me, my friend. What a good time.
Very nice, my friend. Well, as for me, you can find me on the old Twitters at Ryan Turford. And you also find us on Twitter at Carpool Gaming, right here, youtube.com/Carpool Gaming, and on podcast services around the globe. So, for Matt Sowinski and Sean Capri, I am Ryan Turford. This has been a very special episode of the Xbox Drive, focusing on the 2023 Xbox Showcase with 100% more Starfield. And we're out.
I had a really good time talking about all these games we've been recording for so long. What a great time to celebrate video games. Thank you all so much for being here with us. And congratulations to everybody who won Game Pass codes with all of us. Ryan's wondering how long I'm going to be going on. And I'm just going to say goodbye. Bye.